everyone. Before the episode starts off, just want to let you know, Volume 1 does have audio-only episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. If you were on iTunes, if you could leave us a 5-star review, that would be awesome. And if you want to support Volume 1 on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/volume1pod.
Mihawk shows up literally as they're talking about it.
Is his first name Jack?
Okay, that was funny. That was funny, dude.
Who's that?
Say the whole thing. Avast, ye mateys, and welcome to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we usually review the first volume of a brand new manga each week, but it's our East Blue Done Piece Part 2. My name is Josh Red Shoes Michaels, and today, as always, I am joined by
Megan Fishman Perrine.
Oh,
Cody Leg Eater Decker.
Oh,
okay, all right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Volume 1. Today, we will be covering Volumes 6 through 9, chapters 45 through 81, volumes 6 through 9.
Yes.
Referred to as our
Yeah.
sweetest volume read.
You know what that means?
Yeah. So, take that however you will. And then in our next episode, we'll be reviewing volumes 4 through 20.
Yes, it'll be very...
Yeah.
So where we left off last time, I just kind of want to jump into it because we got a lot to get through today. I do have a lot of questions, again, that I want to ask you guys. I also, in this episode, we're saving our part 3 episode, by the way, for your corrections, your comments. I do have a few that I would like to acknowledge. And then also, I wrote down some of my favorite question corner segments, which I think is one of the best parts of reading the manga.
Yeah, it's
hearing
so fun.
Oda respond to fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were saying that there's a couple that you read that were your favorites too, like if all of Luffy's body parts stretch.
Yeah. And he just said, yes, ... they do.
Yeah.
And sometimes he entertains it, and other times he's just like deflects it. He's like, what do you mean? They're doing this. What, how can you say that? It's so funny.
Yeah, he's so funny, and like the measurements that he gives when people ask like how long can Luffy stretch or how hard can Sanji kick. I don't know when the best place. Maybe we'll save some of my favorites for the end because I think some of them address things that happen a little later on. But let's just jump into it. Where we left off, we were just about to hop into Sanji's arc and the Barati or the Bara. This is our Witch Hat Atler thing all over again. Barate, or Barati. How are you guys in your head pronouncing the name of this restaurant?
I just move on. I just the kitchen.
He sails on by. I say Barate because when you think of food, I don't know. My mind always goes to like French cuisine, I think it is having to do with that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely French.
Is there a pun you can do with ocean?
Oh shit.
Okay.
No, that one was.
One of my favorite emotional sort of arcs happens in this part, and I'm really excited to get there with you guys. Where we left off, though, is Sanji is feeding Jin. Jin, of course, the guy, one of Don Krieg's men. We haven't met Don Krieg yet, but he's a scoundrel. Mm-hmm. He's a commander of 50 ships and over, I think, 5,000 men. And Jin is a part of his crew that was begging Sanji for food. Sanji fed him, and Zeph sees that happen, but Sanji kind of kicks the plate off into the ocean as if to say, like, let's get rid of the evidence. Nobody has to know. But Zeph sees it. Zeph knows. And this is a cool moment, letting us in on, like, who Sanji is and what his priorities are.
Which I was really weirded out by his sense of morality.
Why?
Upon reread, I mean, does feel like he goes a little too far sometimes.
Because they'll be like, that person has murdered hundreds of people. He tortures them. And he's like, but he was hungry. And I'm like, and everyone is like, this is probably the best way to go. Mm-hmm. And I am just like, but he's like, but I think people should be fed. I'm like, I mean, that's a murderer.
Well, you see later why he feels so strongly about that. So it kind of redeemed it for me. I mean, I know that they're bad, but like, I don't think any of them have been on the level that he was at. So he's just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Any chance I get, I will just do this one thing that I know I can do for another person.
When it's a random person, but when someone tells you that person specifically has killed people and will do it again, and being like, but I've been hungry too. And I know what that's like. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to take this seriously.
There's a lot of people that were like, don't do it. And he's like, I gotta.
It's one of those things like, but I live by this code of feeding the hungry. I'm like, sure, absolutely. But he is you are going to contribute to murder, which I'm pretty sure he does.
You know what? I can even, and I love Sanji, and I can even justify a character who's like, who says like, yeah, but that's my job. And Sanji even has one line that I think is such a well-written line that it sort of makes me okay with everything, where he's like, it's my job to feed hungry people, not to judge them, because that's when things get complicated. But it's where the line
and also,
gets
he's giving it away for free, so it's not even a job.
But see, where the line gets kind of drawn is when the guy's like, these men are gonna kill you. Like you're gonna feed them and give them energy to come take this ship.
And he's like, I live by a code. I'm a cook.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm a cook.
All right.
I have some training.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's
save
be
it
a little
for
more honest.
another episode, Cody. Okay.
Yeah, you're a cook who loves feet as well. Yeah.
You're kind of a crook, though.
I'm not
Yeah,
anti-feet. Let's,
No, I know you're pro feet. You have them out all the time. It's gross.
temperatures exist. We live in a desert.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I
but
like that gives you like
you've
that
done
makes
it
you
at
so
a
much
restaurant.
cooler.
Like, I'm pretty sure Sanji, if you saw you with no shoes on, he'd be
We're
like,
going to
"Put some
sit for
shoes
2
on."
hours. Let's make sure we have all of our shoes on.
That's literally how it goes. That's how you're
What?
supposed
What are you
to. Yeah, what the
saying,
fuck was
dude?
that, dude?
You weren't fazed by it at all at first. You're just jumping in.
No. I remember being mortified that we were sitting next to you when the
You
bus
didn't
boy
care.
was like, "Hey, maybe you should put your shoes on before someone steals them."
Hey, maybe I'm paying to be here.
And he was a bus man. I just want to put that out there.
He was.
Okay,
He
yeah,
was also an adult. I'm
he
like, I
was
don't
an
care.
adult.
I would care more if he was younger.
Really?
Really?
That's odd.
Anyway, but yeah, I do get what you're saying, Cody. I mean, it was kind of teetering the line a little bit for me too. Like I said, you could write it all away with one good line, which I think it had.
Because I mean, I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be very emotional, but I'm like, if I treat this seriously,
Yeah.
you are dangerously insane and you have contributed to people's deaths. So I'm supposed to, if I don't view it seriously though, then why should I treat the emotional stuff seriously?
On one hand, yes, like I said, I had to really sort of just put my hands up and say like, I'm just gonna let this one slide.
The story was good. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like, he is a great character and all that was good, but I
Yeah.
am just like, I'm supposed to gloss over that.
Yeah, I mean, it is just to set up how passionate he is, which I think it does that very well, to the point of even putting others in danger. But I also like another line that he has later on. One of my first favorite line was like, it's my job to feed them, not to judge them. And my second favorite line was when he said, I'm feeding the hungry, but in a moment we're gonna get like raided by pillagers or whatever, or by bandits or by pirates or however he said it. And so his moral code is like, if anybody's hungry, it's my job to feed them. But if anybody does anything to harm anybody after on a full stomach, that's when it's fair game.
And that's where it's like, I guess if you like read the bullet points, it makes sense. But I'm just like, in this reality, you're like, I'll supply the attackers, but then I'll fight back against them. I'm like, this is dumb.
I mean, it was a little silly, but I love it. And I did have a good time. Even upon like second read, I had a
Yeah,
had a
did
lot
you
of fun.
have like first read when you were reading this, were you like, oh, like did you have this kind of issue?
It's the second time. You know what it might have been? The first time I read it by myself, for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Second
but then
time,
I was the voice inside your head.
the second time I read it, knowing that I was going to have to talk to you and Cody about it. And so like, as I'm reading it, I'm like, Cody's probably going to say some shit about this.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
But yeah, it does get to the point where it becomes a little dangerous, but luckily Sanji can handle himself, it seems, even though he is putting blows of innocent people in danger, but it all works out, thank God.
I mean, they can hold their own.
Like 10 people got shot in the gut in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're dead. Unless like we now apply like cartoon
Cody-
rules.
But Cody, they were full. So, I mean, and that's not Sanji's job. He's
Like,
not a doctor.
He has no guilt
true.
about it. He's
Yeah.
just like, he was hungry. I'm like,
He's
you're
a cook.
insane.
He's a good man, dude. He's a good man.
Everyone was like, if you do this, people will die. He does it, people die. And he's like, he was hungry. I'm like,
Okay.
you're a villain.
Don't call Sanji a villain,
Whoa.
I mean,
dude. You're a villain, dude.
what the heck?
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But just, kind of moving on a little bit. Jin, another cool thing is that Jin is actually so beat up, and Don Krieg's fleet has been so beat up because he reveals to Luffy and Sanji that he had just returned from the Grand Line, and the Grand Line is no joke. And right away, you're let in on how dangerous this part of the sea is because it took out
50,000 men?
No, 50 ships and I think 5,000 men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is insane. And then we find out more details about that later. But so Jin warns him about it. Luffy's like, I'm still going to go, dude. You can't stop me.
Yeah, there's nothing that can stop this boy.
Yeah.
I got on board for Luffy a little bit, like down the road, but I was really starting to be like, I mean, I don't think I'm supposed to take this guy like as a character seriously.
Again, to your point, I will say that Luffy really, really started to I started to connect with him during the Nami arc.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But, like,
totally. This solidified a lot of characters for me.
Yeah.
Like reading up until this point. Obviously, we didn't read that much. We
Yeah.
haven't read it like anything at all. But honestly, yeah, they definitely, I feel better about them all.
Yeah.
Just 'cause, I did get on board for him later, but like when it like got to like, oh, here's like he's gonna work here. I'm like in my head, I can imagine what scenes it was like. Yes, this is you replace this character with any like cartoon character. This is what they do. They're lazy. They don't do it. They break stuff. Like if you replace him with Homer Simpson, it's the exact same scene.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know if it's just, when this came out, this was like new, but I'm like, I don't find it funny. His humor has never grown on me, but his character started to.
Okay.
And if it was Homer Simpson, it'd be called Dope Piece.
Okay. All right, Megan.
Sweaty.
Volumes.
Sorry.
Volumes 6 through 9.
No. Oh shit.
Yeah, no, I totally get that though. I feel like I also think Luffy's humor lands for me though. Like when he put the booger in the water and Zoro went to go drink it. I thought that was funny.
He's very childish and he says what's on his mind, and sometimes he shouldn't say it when he does, and that's what's funny because everyone else is just kind of like, you put us in these situations because you refuse to do what we say at all.
I do want to note real quick too, because it's like around these chapters, by the way, where you're going from chapter to chapter, and the cover page for each chapter is Buggy. Yeah. So I alluded to like us seeing Buggy again, and I don't think this is a huge spoiler because I think it's even like said. But all those things that are happening like are like canon, like Buggy
going to
you see him on like jet skis in his like mini body.
Yeah.
And then he meets that woman.
Yes. So that is all. If you like look at those pages back to back to back, and they span over the course of like many chapters, but if you look at them, they're telling a full story. So when we see Buggy again, or when the Straw Hats see Buggy again, like it will be like the cover pages will get to a point where like he's now part of the story again.
That's really cool. I like that device.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So
Yeah.
when you go back and you look at them, or when you're reading more farther ahead, like keep that in mind.
Because it could easily just be like a one shot at the end of a chapter where you see what happens to him. But this is just such a more creative way to, and you're like waiting to see like the next cover page. You're like, what's Buggy doing now?
Yeah.
And it's great.
And so I just all I'll say is pay attention, because when things get revealed, you might think you are paying attention, but then when things get revealed, you're like, it was right under my nose and I didn't even see it. It was right underneath my clown nose. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Luffy's there. He's a goofball. Sure. So Jin, goes back and we see like a panel of him telling Krieg about the restaurant, which, for someone who's like Krieg's right-hand man or whatever, like he says later on that he thought Krieg was just going to go there and get food and then he was going to leave.
Yeah,
but it's like,
this man who's done so much so many shitty things. Of course he's not going to do that. What are you talking about?
And also just because he's notorious for being a trickster, a liar. Yeah.
Yeah. And I bought it at first where he's like, I'm like, oh, we're seeing him at like his lowest point. So now he's so desperate. But then, and everyone's like, don't believe him. I'm like, oh, but this is going to be where he turns out to be right. And here's by doing this, it's a good thing.
I can imagine being
Because
like,
that's-
oh, okay, everything's lining up now. Everything's making sense. I get
Well,
it.
yeah, and
then
Cody's
it's
thinking
just
like, and Sanji's gonna be the one that had it right all along.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, he was wrong. And so I'm like, this is, that's what I'm like, he's a interesting character, but like what he does is kind of like, so far, like, you're gonna have to do a lot to like make up for the fact, like, he doesn't care that those people died. Unless I missed a panel where they go like, oh, we're all fine and those weren't like real bullets.
Well, I mean, there is another, question corner where Oda tells you what kind of bullets they are, and they're real bullets. Yeah.
So I'm like, this guy is like a monster who
Look,
like put his ideals over people's lives.
Cody.
Let me break it down for you, dude. Don
He's
Krieg
Pirate King.
was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. They're a restaurant.
Didn't Zeph okay it?
No.
Didn't
No,
Zeph,
everyone was against him.
I thought Zeph okayed
said,
it and everyone was like, no.
Zeph said like, well, the past is the past, so let's move on.
Well, and Zeph, when Krieg comes in and he's like, I just want water, I just want food, and I'll leave you alone. And then he betrays Sanji as soon as he eats. He like fucking sucker punches Sanji.
Yeah.
And then demands, I need food for all of my men, and we're gonna take this ship.
We're gonna
because
use
our
it to
ship's
take-
damaged.
Yeah, this is ours.
And
now.
Sanji's
Just
like, you
load
can
it up.
have it. Sure, have the food. They're hungry. I'm like, it's not even
He
vague
didn't say
what's
have
happening.
the ship though.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
just says
yeah.
have the food.
But they're
you
going
won't
to
have
take
the
the, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's like this thing of like, just don't.
But you gotta admit that there's a cool line where he says like, right now they're just hungry people, but on a full stomach they'll be like. I wrote it down. I wrote down the exact quote, but I can't find it right now. We'll get to it.
Okay, cool.
When we get to it. You keep talking.
I don't
I'll
want to
find
be
it.
too hung up on it, and I'll move on past this issue after this. But it is just like, it's like, oh yeah, there's his values, right? He'll feed them if they're hungry, but he'll fight them to defend what's his. But like that would be fine if you were only putting your life at risk,
Right.
But not only is he putting other people's lives at risk, people have died, and he's just like, I that's what I believe in.
Hey, it's a pirate's life, Cody.
Yeah,
Jeez.
dude, this is a
They're
it's the
chefs.
age of
They're not even pirates anymore.
They're pirate chefs.
They're
They're technically pirate chefs.
and that's what it gets.
As a cook, I consider it my job to feed the hungry, but soon I'll be facing plunderers with full stomachs.
and that's
That's a true fact.
That's goofy. Don't.
so.
no.
I'm like, as a goofy thing, I'm like, that's fine. But if I'm
as a
supposed
cool
to
thing.
As
view
a
it, if I'm supposed to
cool
view it
thing.
as a cool thing,
As a cool.
then I have to make sure. Megan,
Yes.
you were saying something?
Cool.
It's cool. Sanji's cool. Cody,
Cody, get over it.
get over it. Get over. Maybe that's it, dude. Maybe you can't handle someone being cool. Maybe that's what you're so upset about it. You can't stand someone being cool.
This podcast is over.
All right, bye.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Cody. I'm kidding. No, Cody, get up. Cody, get up.
Is this during the time where we're seeing
Actually, Cody, keep
Usopp,
going down there a little bit.
Usopp and Zoro? Okay. Oh my god, I
Now
didn't
it's
even
really-
get that.
The
Now it's
Wire
really
was-
volume 6 through 9, if you know what I
The
mean.
volume was messed up, or the wire.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had to
got
fix
it.
it.
That happens a lot. Is this the time where we're seeing Usopp and Nami and
They've
Zoro?
just been eating.
Is it like?
Well, they were eating, yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
before
yeah.
this, yeah.
Before this,
And then
yeah.
you see,
But-
you find out that not only does Sanji put, he doesn't care about people's lives, also a simp, huh?
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
huge simp. Yeah.
Gives
Nami
food-
was like, "Can I have the free food?" And he's like, "Of course."
He
He's like,
gives
"Not
food
free."
away to people who try to rob them, and then he gives food away to just someone who's like, I don't want to pay.
Wow, whoa, dude. To like a beautiful woman.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't.
Yes, I can now see the Sanji qualities in
Yeah,
you.
of course.
Now that
This is
I've
totally
Yeah,
Josh.
gotten in our One Piece
didn't
sonas,
see-
Yeah, dude.
you're
think,
Sanji.
Of course, he's Sanji.
you
you're
think I
Luffy.
haven't given like free food to people
Oh,
before?
you have.
Oh, I have.
Oh my God, you're in that position to do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're a waiter.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm in a
Sanji.
position.
Usopp, Luffy.
Okay, Luffy.
You agree-
Usopp. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's
I
a
want a
Zoro.
slingshot.
Okay, if it's Usopp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
when we meet him, the little.
We'll see. But to your point about was Zeph in on it? So when Krieg comes in and he's like, I need food for 100 men, and everybody's
Mhm.
like, no, and even all the cooks turn on him and put Sanji at gunpoint.
Mhm.
That's when Zeph comes in and he's like, here's a bag full of 100 rations. Just get out of here. which he already said he wasn't going to do.
And it's, it's a cartoon, I guess. But I'm like, you just made that?
Well, I don't even think it's prepared food. I think he was given it. He literally just gave him like rations, like
emergency.
it's just like ingredients, even just to like eat because they're starving. I don't think they necessarily need a fully cooked meal.
I think the chef who I'm like on board for, the one who like beat up the guy that tried to rob them and then Sanji fed them.
Patty, yeah.
Patty is pâtissière.
Oh.
And carne is just meat in Spanish.
Yeah, so they got, and
there we go, Megan's little language corner.
And there was another thing in Oda's question corner where he said that guy from a couple chapters back, Lieutenant Full Body, was named
after
Full Body
wine.
After like a wine profile. They have full bodies, and he was drinking wine. And
he's like, I don't drink that much, but I know that. And I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. That guy is one of my favorite characters.
Patty?
Yeah, and he says like, I'm gonna call the Navy and they're going to arrest him. Like, yes, that's what you do in this situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of situations like we see later. I'm just like, that's the most plausible way to help this situation.
I also don't know how they're gonna call the Navy.
I'm sure do they
have radios in this world?
You'll see later.
I think they have iPhones.
They're I kind of want to tell you because it's not a spoiler.
Cyberpunk.
It's not a spoiler, but from what I remember, they use snails to communicate.
You're right. That's not a spoiler. Because that could mean anything.
Yeah, from what I remember.
Megan, maybe don't hold that pose for...
Or do. Oh, yeah, because you're shaking. Yeah.
Shut up.
Megan's
what do you mean
snails?
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. There's a phrase I
confusing.
heard by an author, which is read and find out. And I think that's a great way to end questions like that.
Yeah, read and find out.
I think we should just start the podcast with that and then end it. And it'll be like a 3-second video.
Yeah, we could get it down to
read
2,
it and find out.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
But that's no fun. So Krieg also, when he gets the rations from Zeph, recognizes Zeph, calls him Red Shoes Zeph.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like the pirate names?
It's goofy.
They're
all goofy and fun.
That's why I laughed. Like, you're like, were you laughing and having a fun time? It's supposed to be fun.
Why are you laughing and having a fun time at this clearly fun thing?
God damn it, Cody.
I think the clown character is silly. What? No, he's a Buggy.
Buggy is not silly, dude.
He's Buggy the clown, the pirate.
Buggy is evil, dude.
Really?
And pretty silly.
He's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, so far, I have seen Sanji put more people's lives at risk than I have seen Buggy.
Okay, dude, you really hung up on this.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop. But he has done the most actively evil thing.
All right.
I think he was probably gonna. He might have done it regardless.
No, he couldn't. They were in a position to tie him up, and Sanji's like, "No, he's hungry." I'll stop now.
Okay,
it's
we
fine.
It's
over now, and you can come at me. It's fine.
I guess that's true.
Come at him. So
food is very important, didn't you know?
All right, you said you were done. Red Shoes Zeph, fun name, cool pirate name. Also, we find out that he's been to the Grand Line and he's kept logs of it.
This is a tangent, but I just realized how silly it is that Blackbeard's name is Blackbeard when that's not a special color.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah. You can call him brown beard. Or
most beards are black.
Gray beard.
Most facial areas. So he's just a guy with a beard, and we'll call him Blackbeard.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than calling him.
But I don't even think shaving was overseas.
Did his name,
everyone had to have had a beard back then.
Does his name change when he gets old and this white beard?
Maybe.
Well, he died.
He died before he got old.
Blackbeard.
Well, also maybe.
Yeah, he was beheaded.
Maybe it's a genius thing, Cody, because if you think about it, maybe. That's the genius of the name. If you're a pirate and people are hunting you for a bounty, you just give yourself the most common name.
Oh, it's the drunk guy over there. Perfect.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's Two Eyes, the pirate.
Yeah. 2 arms.
It's 2 arms, the pirate.
Matey.
Yes,
they say he was born with 2 arms.
And it's crazy.
Speaking of 2 arms, though,
it's so crazy. Oh my god!
When you see him, we'll go
see him.
I don't
want
to lose my cool segue. Speaking of 2 arms, you know who doesn't have 2 legs?
Red Shoes.
Red Shoes Zeffy.
You should call him Red Shoes Zeff now. Instead of Red Shoes.
Oh,
Zeff.
yeah.
I feel like that'd get a big reaction from you guys.
Dude, I don't think I think they just call him Chef Zeff now. They don't call him Red Shoes anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so.
You're right. I fucked up.
Mm-hmm. It's
Just
okay,
really
though.
steamrolled the energy there.
It's fine. We were just on a hot riff.
Yeah.
Who
my
needs
bad.
those?
My bad.
But I don't want you to
Um,
get in front of my Segway.
It was a cool
Red
segue.
I gotta get the
It was a
Segway
cool
in here.
segue.
What if instead of shoes, it was shoe? Oh,
Segway the pirate.
It's
I
me, Segway,
I
because
would
he
be
always
called
ruins. Huh?
No, don't hurt my feelings, dude.
I stopped. I stopped.
Did you?
I shop for you.
That's not what I stopped.
Anyway,
Yeah.
That's not what I
that was a really good Cody impression.
Thank
by the way.
you.
No, it was
I haven't
bad.
done it in a while. I'm a little rusty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
I
what
thought
I-
it was spot on.
Speaking of
Haven't missed a day.
rusty,
Okay.
One leg.
one leg rusty.
So bad.
And he's got one leg, little peg leg, and
Okay.
This is all in her notes.
a little peg leg.
Mhm.
He spots him and everyone's like, what? Red Shoe Zeph? Like, does no one know that he used to be a pirate apparently? The whole
Well, I'm
except
sure
for
people.
Sanji.
I'm sure everybody does.
Well, he doesn't have two red shoes.
So how would they know?
I'm
Back to the point. How could he be
No,
Red
but-
Shoe Zeph?
Mhm.
Because people know what Red Shoe Zeph looks like, dude. You guys are getting hung up on the silly.
I'm
fun
on your
stuff.
side on this one.
That's my Blackbeard point.
I
That's
want
not
to
my
hear
Red
what you
Shoes
have to
point.
say.
Everybody knows he's Red Shoe Zeph, but
Okay.
but I think that he's also like not broadcasting it, but he's not hiding it.
Mm.
You know, and he had a reputation. He went to the Grand Line. He survived. He came back. He opened up one of the only restaurants that you can find at sea. I just think maybe Krieg didn't expect to see him there,
Uh-huh.
but once he saw him, he's like, "Oh, I know you. You're Red Shoe Zeph, the famous,
The famous,
pirate.
infamous
Yeah, infamous,
Mhm.
absolutely."
pirate.
Okay. Yeah, and so he recognized him right away. He wants his log book so that he can navigate. Because another thing he says, Krieg says, "I'm the strongest. I'm I have the most weaponry. I have the biggest fleet. But what I didn't have was knowledge, and that's all I needed.
I needed to know where I was going, and you have all that.
And that's the only thing that's the only thing that stopped us the first time. We're gonna do it this
And
time.
that's a powerful moral.
Yeah.
Because it's knowledge.
Mhm.
Knowledge is power. You can
Mhm.
have all the weapons in the world, but if you don't have knowledge, you don't have anything.
Yeah. Then you have to rob a
Okay.
restaurant.
Mm.
Way to read between the lines, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We're between the waves.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh,
Let's
let's go with it.
let's ride that wave.
Yeah. So right around
Cowabunga.
this point, all this is happening,
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
and Jin feels horrible. Jin feels
Is
terrible.
it Jin or Ging?
Probably Ging. I mean, I'm never gonna doubt you again.
I thought it was Ging because I was like, oh, what's his name's dad doing here?
Well, this is the GIF.
Yeah,
Oh.
GIF.
Jin. I'm sure I'm gonna. Yeah, people are. I'm
It's
sure,
Ging. No, it's Ging. You're right. I was wrong.
Wait, I said Jin though, because it's
Jin.
G-I-N.
Oh, yeah,
Is
it's
there a
Gin. It's Gin.
It's Gin?
Gin. What did you say?
Well, gin is an alcohol, and there's a guy named Full Body, so they're going with like food.
I think
puns.
it might be. It is Gin. I just looked it up.
If it's not, people have already lit me up in the comments. dude.
Oh,
I'm
look at
pretty
that
sure
one.
it is.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that one right there.
Holy
I
God.
look like a fool.
And they mentioned how small
Oh,
They didn't say anything about that.
you edited it out.
I ate the big fruit, dude. They didn't say anything about
the
that.
big fruit. And yeah, I ate the chest fruit, Josh.
Too true, man.
Now you're getting crazy. But he tells them more details about how their ship got wrecked and how they're all there. Everything got wrecked. And he says it was
some
one guy.
Oh.
It was one guy, not just some guy, but it was one guy.
Oh, I like this character.
Yes. And his name is Mihawk. And he scuppered 50 ships. That's what they say.
I was like,
man with the piercing hawk eyes that could kill at a glance.
Good. That's good.
That's him.
What were you going to say, Cody?
I was just going to go into a thing. I like the word scuppered. I've never heard of someone scuppering so many ships before.
I like the pirate words.
That's why I didn't want to.
no, I love
Oh, you agree?
No,
I
you just said
defaulted to you. Like,
Wow, I know that was crazy. You literally did not listen to anything you just said.
Nope,
You were like,
that's-
oh, well, that's why I don't want to do it.
So you got to keep them on their toes, dude.
Oh, speaking of toes,
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's
he
this,
has
He has.
only 5 toes.
Okay. All right.
they call him Five Toes.
They
the
don't
pirate.
call him Five Toes.
Why do they call him that? He thought it was cool.
No.
Anyway,
But speaking
Hawkeye.
of Mihawk shows up literally as they're talking about
Is
him.
his first name Jack?
Okay, that was funny. That was funny, dude.
Who's that?
Say the whole thing.
Oh,
That was
that
funny.
was good.
You never know what's gonna land here.
Yeah.
That was good.
It's at this time too, because like Luffy and Zoro and everybody are, well, I guess just those two are worried about Johnny and Yosuke I think,
Mm-hmm.
on the ship. They're worried about him and Nami, or them and Nami
And Usopp.
and Usopp, and they get washed up, and they said that they have been thrown overboard by Nami.
Hey, and
Now-
this?
Yeah, in the moment, what'd you think?
I was like, okay. Because
Yeah.
I know I at this point I didn't know, like, I knew that she wanted to get money for something, so it really didn't surprise me. I was like, okay, it does. Obviously, I know that she's like an ongoing character, so I was like, it kind of ruins the
Yeah.
surprise for me. And especially deaths that happen, I'm like, okay, well, I know this isn't real, which is kind of the bummer for a series that has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
You just kind of know, like, okay, there's this character. I know they're going to be around for a while, so it doesn't really have any stakes for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, well, maybe it's a situation where she does like leave for a little bit and then come back to them at some point. But I kind of bought it.
The whole time I'm waiting for the reveal that like, oh, I didn't do that, but then it kept going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what the volume after this looks like, so.
But I
Mhm.
mean, there was one panel as she's leaving when she is kind of crying, and she
Mhm.
says like, I really hope I can meet up with them again. Yeah. So I mean, that should be a little indicator that she is not all bad. She's
Yeah.
not.
And
yeah.
it does look like she made the smart choice
Mhm.
to just like leave these crazy people.
Yeah, that restaurant. I mean, they had
There's a
just
lot
gotten
going
there,
on.
and like every minute something is happening.
Yeah,
A
like they
bigger
were-
threat is showing up.
This massive fleet just got wiped out, and Luffy's like, I'm gonna go next. And she's like, I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna
like,
go.
I'm not, yeah, like I was like, that as a realistic choice, she did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really took it serious. I mean, obviously they got thrown overboard, so they were like, she's the devil.
Yeah, and then we
Mhm.
get to see
That's what they sound
Zorro,
like.
Zorro and Mihawk have their first sort of
threw us overboard.
interaction, or their first fight, and this was like out of all of them, because we do get like there's a big chunk of this that's fighting.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the biggest fan of fights. I mean, I much prefer like character moments, or even plot moments, and fights are great, but I mean they shine in anime, I think.
Yeah, it is
Um,
interesting because like I like fight scenes, but
Mhm.
I am finding that if I don't care about the characters, I'm like,
But I thought Mihawk and Zoro's fight was one of my favorites. It was
Yeah, that was a great.
short,
fight.
sweet. There was a lot of like we were given a lot of information.
Yes, and it was like because of a reason, because he was like, oh, you're the best one. I need to take you out. And it was like very much from the heart for him. That's why I liked it so much. It wasn't just like, I need to fight this person because I need to get to where I'm going next. He was like, oh, I need to fight this person right now so I can become stronger. And I did like the resolve of the end of the fight between them, because he was just, it was such a like classy man thing to do. He's just
Yeah.
like, yep, I look forward to seeing you later, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was awesome because, like you said, the emotional stakes that are tied into this fight, and then Zoro basically getting his ass kicked and
Mhm.
doing like two very honorable things. One, just saying like willing to die, being very willing to die, and then two, like turning around. And when Mihawk's like, "What are you doing?" is like it's disgraceful for a swordsman to have like markings on his back.
And
I
he
need to
was
face
just-
you to.
He's like,
to die.
this kid's a riot, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Mihawk has also been known to, like even Zeph said earlier, like you probably just woke him up, and that's why he attacked all your or sank all your ships, and everybody like got mad at him. He's like, I wasn't joking. Like he just does whatever he wants to do. And it is very clear when we meet Mihawk that he is just kind of doing whatever he wants to do. We find out more about him later. But in this moment, yeah, like, cause like after his fight with Zoro, which again was one of my favorite fights in this portion, he just leaves. Like he could defeat Krieg. He could, defeat.
Kill Zoro.
He could do, yeah, but he just is like, I'm done. I'm gonna leave.
He's like, that was fun. I'm tired now. He
Yeah.
fucking wore me out.
I think he said I'm gonna take a nap or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. And he's like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah.
But that honorable moment at the very end, Zoro's so full of honor, and he holds up his sword, and he's just like, I'm never gonna lose again. And even like him having that moment with Luffy where he's like, you were wise to stay out of this fight. This was between me and him. And, he says like, be better and I'll meet
His
you
tears
again.
coming down his face.
I like how often characters cry in the story.
Yes.
A lot,
And
yeah.
it's very like visceral, like reaction. And even Oda mentioned in one of the question corners, like when he's drawing like one of them crying or like an intense scene, he's like, do you look like
That reminded
my
me of
face?
Cody, yeah.
He's like, my face looks like that when I'm reading it. Does yours look like that when you're drawing it? And he's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I remember one scene, my face was sore from like frowning and crying. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
Something
Yeah.
I like to do when listening to audiobooks is if they describe someone's face,
Oh.
I'll
Yeah.
start like doing it and I'll be like,
Yeah.
And then someone like, "Are you okay?" No, the book is describing horror.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of, Cody. I can imagine, and yeah, I mean, it makes sense for when you're having to draw for reference. You're looking in a mirror, frowning, and you're just kind of drawing what you see.
But they have like the snot and like the big mouth and the really bubbly, manga eye tears. It's really touches the soul.
No
I
one's
like
afraid.
ugly crying.
Oh yeah, dude.
You like bubbly crying?
Ugly.
crying.
Oh, ugly. Oh yeah.
Yeah, who's a
pretty crier?
Yeah, I mean, people maybe who are faking it.
Yeah, so like, anytime someone, it's always like a single tear or they cry and it doesn't even ruin their makeup. But like when someone is like crying, like, oh, that's them being very vulnerable. Like I like that in a story.
Me too.
Because now it's not just like this is the scene where they cry.
No, yeah.
Well,
this is
it's
the
like,
scene where they're broken. They're broken.
Yes, and that's what I want.
Yes.
and like,
yes.
men crying. It's like good. Like
Yeah.
we love to see that.
Yeah, we love to see it. And speaking of, I mean, I don't want to, jump too far ahead, but you were just talking about men crying and I think that as far as like women characters go, like later on in the back half of these volumes that we're covering today, like I think these are some of the I would say most well written, like strong female characters.
See, that's the thing with One Piece though that people don't get because they're just like, why they got huge tits and long legs and look beautiful, and it's like because they can be badass and look like that too.
Yeah.
It's not just like for the male gaze.
Yeah, I've heard people give it flack for that.
A lot of flack.
I
It's like a
haven't-
whole controversy thing.
So far, I have not seen any fan servicey shots in this.
I think
Does it get-
it's literally the proportions. It's not that they're like revealing themselves, and it might later on become more exaggerated, but I think it's just that like typically he draws women with like very long legs and like it's their anatomy, I think, more so than it is like the positions that they're drawing in. Yeah, I don't know.
I
I'll
think
check
so
out
too.
these characters.
Yeah, check them out. Do research. But yeah, so their fight was very, very cool. And then we get more fighting on the Barate. The fins are released. The fins come down so that the pirates have a place to fight and not damage
I like that.
the restaurant. I thought it was very cool. It also has like the head of it comes out, and Carne and Patty were like, trying to do as much damage as they could, but they're not doing a whole lot. I mean, Krieg's men kind of are MIA because the ship has been
Yeah, they're in the water.
yeah, the ship has been like blown to pieces, so they're just
kinda
kind of like
floating.
floating.
And
Yeah.
they're just like, yeah, Krieg is the
Yeah.
best.
Which is funny because, and this is not a complaint, by the way. I actually do love this. It is funny that in all these big fights, the crews tend to always like
Be in the background.
Something happens to them where they have to
Yeah.
resort to like rooting from afar.
Yeah.
Like with Kuro, they're like Kuro wants to kill them, so they start rooting for Luffy. Or with Buggy, they're like passed out, like we're gonna just keep
Yeah, because they can't do shit
Yeah.
compared to these people that
Yeah.
have these like crazy abilities. They're like, we're gonna just be here when you need us.
It's funny though too. I think it's so cool. This is probably my least favorite fight. I like it later on, towards the end of it. But Sanji and the Invincible Pearl, which by the way, every time I see a character design or a character reveal, I always smile. Like
Me
it always makes me smile.
Too. It
Yeah.
reminds me of a lot of Hunter x Hunter. Just
Cody's just shaking his head over
Huh?
I just let the audience know I don't smile. When
Go
I
ahead,
see
Megan.
these
Hunter
designs.
Hunter. Yeah.
It makes me smile because it reminds me a lot of Hunter x Hunter just based off of like very unique character designs, and they're all distinctive. And in One Piece, it is very just much like I don't even question how crazy they look because it's like, oh, that's Pearl.
As a matter of fact, like the more outrageous, the better. I think.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I don't hate the designs. It's just my first thought when I see them is like, okay, is this a power user?
Mhm.
Or do they have like magic tools? Or is this just they just can do this?
I don't mean this as a diss or anything. I really don't. But I mean, I really think that you just have to approach this series. It's like this is a series that I think you can't be over analytical about. Like I think.
Well, because yeah, it's like it's not a criticism. The designs are fun, but I am like, which category are they in?
And you must have
Yeah.
liked the other volumes then when it's solidified in what they actually are and what they
Yeah,
look
because
like.
I'm
I
still
thought of Cody immediately. I was like, oh, he's gonna love this because they actually say that
It's
they're
just more
this.
clear. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
because I'm still unclear on the rules. Like some people can just be they have superpowers, but they're not superpowers. Some people have actual superpowers, and some people like get like crazy tools that function like superpowers. So it's hard. Like I just want to know.
Yeah, and I get that. And again, this is not a diss or anything like that, or I'm not coming at you or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, I'm sorry if you feel came on or at right now.
Solid.
But
that was good.
I think it's just, and I'm not saying that you're not having fun, but I just think that it is supposed to just be fun. And it's not, and there are definitely stories where I think, they're designed, and I don't want to go on a whole, tangent about Hell's Paradise, but I think that like that fighting system is designed for you to be like, okay, well it's like to a fault, I think.
Yeah,
to a core.
That's where it's like, if you over-explain it too much, like I don't want people to narrate everything they know. I don't want people to narrate everything they do and like, oh, this is what I have. But it's like, okay, I know that there's this, and I know that there's this.
Yeah.
I mean, if they explain it to me, I'm like, cool. If they don't, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
In this specific manga, I feel like,
and that's the thing. I don't give. That's a really good way of saying it. I don't give a lot of other manga this sort of like wiggle room. It just is very. It's just the spirit of it that I guess I'm not really trying to. And I understand wanting to know it, but for me, it's just like I'm so caught up in the spirit. That I'm just not focusing on. And I don't do, I'm more typically on your side when it comes to that. In other stories, I am more hard on them and more analytical. But for whatever reason, for me personally, it doesn't bother me that much with this. But Pearl, I thought was just like very cool, very funny. But I just did think like, okay, this is like, we could get through this.
Yeah, we can get through this. We don't need to see him go burst in flames.
Yeah, but there was one thing where, when he noticed that he was bleeding, he freaked out, very much like someone in Fist of the North Star that we saw. I don't know if you remember when Ken was fighting, when he finally met up with his like rival character.
We're not going to spoil Fist of the North Star.
No, but when he finally meets up, when they come face to face, I'm not going to reveal the outcome or even plot details, but there's another character there who's fighting him that when he sees his own blood, he freaks out. Do you guys remember that guy?
Mm-hmm. Was that that was the big one?
Yeah, the big guy. And Oda in the question corner,
I was gonna say that. Yeah, he in volume 17 though. We haven't even gotten there.
Yeah, but I mean, this is it applies to what's happening.
He
now.
wrote on his knife. Someone was like, "What did you write on Sanji's knife?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, that was just a little thing. I didn't even think no one would like recognize that." And he wrote Fist of the North Star. And he was like, "It's a good manga. You should check it out." And I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, he said he was like obsessed with it as a kid. And it's just like serendipitous.
I know.
I haven't used it in a long time.
Sneaking that word.
I haven't used it in a long time.
You gave up on it.
But yeah, that was
I thought that was really cool.
Then this is the thing, like Sanji like remove the scene that confuses me. He's like I'm on board more for him, and then Luffy feels like a background character in this. Yeah, and it's like when he jumps into the fight, I'm sort of like, I mean, this isn't your fight, I'm like,
this isn't your story right now.
Yeah.
He jumps in, he's like, gum, cannonball. I'm like, all right, go back to the fight that this has been setting up.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's why I don't think it was until the Nami arc that I really felt like he started to like become more towards the front of the.
Yeah, it's not, what do you call that? The shonen grin?
Oh yeah, that's a good term for it.
When he got that, I'm like, okay, all right. I can like this character a little more.
Shogren.
Sounds gross though.
How about chagrin? And it's me.
That's already a word.
Yes, that's the pun.
Okay.
Why was mine bad?
No, yours wasn't bad.
You said it was gross.
I said it sounded gross. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't say it was gross.
Okay, whatever. Sanji's nuts.
Look to camera.
Sanji's these nuts.
Don't leave
Am I
me
right?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I gotta get that out. I had to get it out.
How about that, Josh?
Yeah, it just came out of
Sanji's
you.
these nuts.
Yeah, why don't you
Sanji's.
yes.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of
Yeah,
hard.
it's a tongue
It sounds
twister.
better on
Yeah.
paper than it does
So that's
actually.
Try to write it 5 times in the comments and see if you can.
Yeah,
It's not the only
Sanji's
thing
these-
that's kind of hard, if you know what I mean. Sanji's hot, dude. Megan, back me up. Sanji's kind of hot.
Okay, compared to Zoro,
Yeah, I agree.
totally
I agree.
different
And
levels.
Sanji's simpiness that makes him a little less hot.
A little less hot, yeah. And he's just not all together in there in the head
yeah.
as much as Zoro, I think.
Yeah. I'm just a sucker for a guy who smokes a cigarette, you know?
Oh yeah.
I'm a sucker for a guy with a sucker, and that's him in the show.
Okay, that's him in the 4 kids, and you know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing. So, yeah.
Just genuinely frustrated.
Stop doing that. So the fight gets interesting with the invincible Pearl when like Zeph gets brought into it. When Jin is holding Zeph at gunpoint, and he says like, if you damage or hurt him or continue to fight, I'm putting a bullet in his head. And then Sanji just like gets his ass kicked, and he lets it happen. He lets Pearl like to the point of, and I know we've talked about like suspending our disbelief at points for this story. But I mean, this was a point for me where I was like, God damn, like how these are like finishing blows.
Yeah, I know. How is Sanji keeping up with this?
Yeah.
You don't got no gum power.
Yeah, I mean, so that therein lies my issue, right? So I'm like, so I'm supposed to take this seriously now.
Yeah.
But then because if Luffy gets like knocked around, it's like, oh, that's his power. But someone else can also get knocked around like that and be fine. So I'm like, if this is
One
supposed
Piece,
to be,
dude.
if this is supposed to be dramatic, I mean,
It's One
And I'm not
Piece.
taking away.
give me a buzzer that says like, and now it's like, now you're supposed to consider what happens to be real.
Yeah, and I'm not taking away from what you're saying at all. But for me, my connection to it isn't so much like, even though I even said, I was like, damn, these are finishing blows. But for me, I mean, I am invested more so in the action, and the severity of the action is amplifying like what the action is supposed to represent, as opposed to like being a power level. Does that make sense?
Well, I guess when Luffy got stabbed, that's when I was like, oh, this is like real now.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if other people, when they got injured, it was treated dead seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But when Luffy was hit, you're like, okay, well, his power is he can just take blunt hits easily. I would understand that, like, oh, well, now when Sanji's hit, that's like serious. But when everyone can get like smacked around, I'm like, well, I don't even know if Luffy's that strong. When I think if anyone fell down a cliff at this point, they would like get up and they'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. I'm not gonna fight you on it because I understand it. But
I didn't like. But when Luffy gets stabbed, that's when it sort of became. That's when I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started liking Luffy's moments more. But then I'm more invested in the character moments than I am in the fights in One Piece.
Me too.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about
I mean, when we get to
this character moment?
Shanji's
Yeah.
origin,
Oh, yeah.
that's when I'm like,
Oh.
all right, now I'm on board. I'll look past what happened.
Yeah.
That's what makes it up, I feel, for me.
Mhm.
Like, oh God, the character moments and like their backstories and their connections to each other just like make it so much better, because you really have an idea of like Zeph and him like having this relationship, this workplace relationship, and it just goes way deeper than that, and it's so good.
I was really surprised. And that's what this will do. Every now and then I'll be like,
Yeah.
a guy like, oh, a goldfish took a huge dump. I'm like, all right, dude. all right, that's comedy.
That
All right.
was a fake story,
and that's coming from
though.
Cody, and you
It was
know that
real.
Cody's very,
No.
Cody doesn't, Cody is a hard egg to crack. So, that's saying, I think that him just saying that says a lot. And I completely agree. It'll surprise you. And, the things that Oda's able to accomplish, like I remember reading it the very first time and being, we want to talk about reveals. The reveal with Zeph and like what Zeph was doing on the rock when him and Sanji got stranded, that caught me completely off guard.
I know. It's so good.
Yeah.
And little Sanji's so cute.
Yeah.
And he's, oh God,
Yeah,
that was also brutality.
Yeah, when in the fight do they reveal this? Because I want to.
I mean, it's happening.
like
It's
right
happening
now.
right now. It's happening right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
It's happening right now.
I thought
It's
that.
happening right now.
I thought
What
you
the
were-
heck?
It's happening right now.
baby Sanji.
Buckle up. We're going there now. They reveal that Sanji was a cook on a ship, or an apprentice on a ship full of other cooks. Good cooks, not pirate cooks.
Not pirate cooks, real cooks, real
yeah.
good cooks. And they reveal that there's this thing called the Blue Line.
Yes.
And the Blue Line's got all kind of seafood and animals and deliciousness. And I'm like,
From
damn,
every ocean
I
or
wanna go
quadrant
there.
of the ocean. Yeah.
I want to be there.
Yeah, but you like seafood. I don't really like seafood, so.
Cody likes seafood.
I love seafood. Well, no, I eat seafood.
Do you like oysters and like mussels and clams?
Yeah, clam chowder. That used to be my big thing as a kid.
No
just
oysters?
cans of clam chowder. What?
No oysters?
Yeah,
Raw
but it's
oysters?
just like what I said. Yes.
Raw oysters.
I mean, oysters are oysters, right?
It's just I don't like how much work it is for like 2 bites of a thing.
Yeah, I know. Just so you can get horny.
I
don't get it.
Yeah, and I first of all, the whole problem is like it's an aphrodisiac. You're like,
what is all of seafood or
No, oysters are like an aphrodisiac snack. You know what I mean?
That's a good name.
Really good.
But they've also done studies and it's not true.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So people are just lying?
Yes, to sell oysters because like,
Megan just did a fuck like she's used it. And she's like, fuck, now they're going to know I was lying.
that was ancient
I only eat oysters.
truck stop pills.
Yeah.
I also don't like
Shucks.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I can't continue from that.
Well, yeah, that was good.
Because
That
I
was
mean,
good.
it's just, I don't like how that's an animal, And I'm like, I'm looking at this thing. Like,
Yeah, barely though.
well, no, it weirds me out that this is a thing that exists.
Like sand dollars are alive. Did you know that?
I don't like that at all either.
I don't like it either, but it's true.
Well, if you really want to break it down, plants are alive.
Okay,
Venus
don't get-
flytraps
okay,
Venus
don't
flytraps
get
are
crazy.
freaky, dude.
This is I'm
They're
like I
freaky
don't
deaky.
understand how a
They're not
plant.
freaky deaky.
They're freaky deaky.
That implies something sexual.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I don't. This is one of those things where like I don't get how spiders just like naturally evolved to have webs. That doesn't make sense. I don't get how a plant was just like it just turned into something that eats things.
Oh,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get how you get from here.
It doesn't make me
to
comfortable
there.
to think about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Spiders are the only web designers that like bugs.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
You know
If we need to,
All right. I mean,
if you need to take a break and like collect your,
It was a good joke. Anyway,
Did you?
speaking of
Yeah.
spiders, I'm just kidding. No,
Huh?
there's not really spiders.
Spy X family.
No.
Huh?
They go on an island maybe at some point.
all right, wow.
Jesus Christ.
Sanji's backstory. This is what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So
We're here.
Zeph shows up
We're
with
here
his
now.
crew. Yeah, we're
here.
Did you guys forget?
Yeah.
Zeph shows up, and then obviously the boat sinks, capsizes, whatever. Sanji or Zeph goes after Sanji. They get stranded on an island, and it's a precarious island in that they can't fish from it. They can't. I don't know how they got up there. The water was probably higher and lowered at some
Tide,
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
tide.
Didn't he jump after Sanji?
Yeah, he went
like-
after him.
Yeah,
like
he went
saved
after
him,
him.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went after him, and then they got stranded together. And it got me the first time. They have two bags, and one of them he gives to Sanji, and it's a smaller one. And he says, "I've divided up the rations. I don't know if anybody's going to come save us, but if they do, you can divvy up this food, and it should be enough for us to survive until help comes, if it does come." Sanji's like, "Why do you have the bigger bag?" And he's like, "Because I'm a man. And
Yeah,
you're
I have
kid."
a bigger stomach,
Yeah.
stupid kid.
And he's like, "But divide it up and you should be fine." Sanji like goes above and beyond. It was supposed to last, I think, 5 days. He divides it up so that it lasts like 20 something days. And then they get stranded for like 60 or 70 days.
85 days they get stranded, and he tells them like, "Don't come over here on my side of the stay over there. I don't want to see you." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, fuck you then."
I'm going to be looking this way. You be looking that way.
So if any ships come,
Yeah.
and then at some point he's running out of food, and he's like, seeing all blurry, and he's like, "Oh fuck, that old man's probably dead already."
Yeah.
And he goes over the cliff and just sees him, and then he opens the bag, and it's just full of treasure.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "What do you mean? Where's all the food?" And then he notices that his fucking
Legs gone. Dude, he was eating himself. Yeah. Which, what were your guys' reaction to reading that for the first time?
How did he cook it?
Oh, okay. Interesting. For coming from a cannibal, I would have just
That's
thought you
not
would've-
true. Allegedly, you guys put that on me.
I mean, you've also argued in the.
I just
defense
wanted
of it
to. I
multiple
was
times.
asking,
people
how
are
did
like,
he
why is
cook
she
that?
okay with eating people and she's not okay with?
It's to the point where
How
like,
did he not die of blood loss?
That is the thing.
That
You
is the
could-
main thing. And how did he cook it?
It's a precision cut.
He
was
used
probably
a rock.
Okay, well.
He was like, "This will do," and it's like he like bashed his leg open.
I did like
yeah.
that in Oda's notes. He said, "Why did he cut off his right leg instead
Yes.
of his left?" And he said, "Oh, obviously you need the weight that you put on your leg helps you do shit. So why would you cut off your right when all your like weight's planted on your left?" And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, because if you cut off the leg that you kick with. Yeah,
then you need to
kick
plant
with-
yourself.
You
yeah.
can kick with a peg leg, but you can't really plant yourself firmly with a peg leg.
and his whole
Uh-huh.
thing was kicking with his red shoes.
with his red, or I don't even. Maybe his shoes weren't even red, but then they became red because they were covered in all the blood of his enemies.
Speaking of
They
red,
were there. That's what they said.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
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 So
He was
maybe.
we found
Maybe
him,
actually 100%.
and he was almost dead.
Yeah.
Straight up dead. He's like,
Was that the rhyme?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry I missed it.
It's okay. I got it in.
Yeah.
He was almost dead.
I'll watch it back.
Red Dead.
All right.
Red Dead Peg Leg.
Red Dead Peg Leg. And then eventually, some people
Yes, sir.
come and he's like, "We're over here. We're over here." And
Beautiful story.
they're saved. Oh, so amazing. And
Yeah.
then he's like, I want you to live because you have dreams, and my dream, I wish there was a restaurant in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then they build it together.
Build it together.
Oh my God, it's so touching.
I mean, these emotional moments really do land. I mean, it works so well in the middle of this fight too. And I love, because I'm somebody who, I love these moments more than I love fights. So when you sprinkle this in the middle of a fight, I'm like, there we go.
There, I'm back.
Yeah.
That's what
I am back.
Yeah.
That's what I need to care about a fight, is to see that.
Exactly.
I agree, 100%.
Exactly. And they do that quite often.
Yeah.
Quite often.
I agree with that 100%. So it's at this point then that, so Luffy actually has an emotional moment here too. And I think this is one that actually gives Luffy a little bit more depth.
I agree.
He like shakes Sanji, because Sanji's still getting his ass beat. And he's like, dying isn't in any way to repay somebody.
Mhm.
And he's like grabbing him and screaming. And then we see that he's remembering Shanks, and how Shanks lost his arm to save Luffy.
Yeah.
So you literally have an arm and a leg being lost to save somebody. And he's like, this is not how you do it.
He didn't save your life so you could throw it away.
Yeah.
Which is
It's a classic
it's
line.
a verbal
Yeah.
face smack to wake you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic. I mean, that's classic. That's a really good thing to tell somebody. I think.
Anyone with survivor's guilt or anything. Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's a really beautiful moment. Jin at this point also, I think, is maybe a little touched by it all too, because he ends up just shattering Pearl.
Uh-huh.
And then we find out really how badass, I guess, Jin is supposed to be. He's actually leader of like his like battle commander of the Armada or whatever.
Yeah. So the reason he got beat up by the chef is he was just starving.
Yeah, exactly.
I really liked his character.
I kind of do too.
Yeah, he grew on me a little bit, even though he was, meddling in the situation. He really came together at the end.
Yeah.
I like anytime a character you assume is going to be a one-off background character gains prominence. You're like, oh, look at you. You're like a big deal.
Look at you.
Yeah, he became a huge part of that story.
Yeah.
And even this is supposed to an attempted honor too, because he's defeating Pearl so he can be the one. He's like, Sanji was so nice to us. I kind of betrayed him by leading Krieg here. Like the least I can do.
Because I liked also how often he was like, well, you promised you weren't going to attack them. He realized he didn't plan on betraying him.
Absolutely not. And I think in his mind, he's like, I still have to listen to Krieg and kill you, but the least I can do is be the one that does it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was pretty. I think that was a pretty cool moment for Jin.
The only thing that I really liked during the fight of Luffy and Krieg, when he was just like, you're gonna die right now. This is my finishing blow. And he's like, no, you're still gonna die. And they keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
How
I'm
about
like, okay.
instead of a gin and tonic, you order a gin and chronic?
Okay.
Gin
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Gin and
Maybe you
Craig.
can put a little CBD oil in there.
Well, chronic.
But chronic is like the chronic. CBD comes from marijuana.
From the earth.
From Mother Earth, baby.
Right.
We'll workshop it. We'll try it. Maybe we'll try one. I mean, not me. You guys can. So I mean, yeah, you're right. I think the best part to me was, I mean, Jin and Sanji, their little fight, and of course Sanji's background. But as far as fights go, Jin and Sanji's held the most emotional weight. I would say way more than Krieg and Luffy's fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I'm like, is Luffy just someone who bounces around between other people's stories? Because that's not a bad character. That's what Don Quixote was. He was just a character who would bump into people. He was on a quest. He would bump into more interesting people, and that was the charm of the story.
I think he's used a little bit for that in the early stages, because that's kind of what it feels like. But I can see him later on in volumes becoming more developed.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's used this way because we want to see the other characters shine because they're getting introduced for the first time.
Yeah, I think it's by design that Oda's trying to get you invested in the rest of the crew, and then maybe he figures, because we did get a little bit of Luffy's origin, but I think he figures maybe it's more important that you connect to this whole cast.
Yeah.
And then Luffy will Luffy does kind of get his time a little bit later. We do find out more about him a little bit later, but I think the spotlight is really on everybody else.
Yeah.
Right now, it just feels like he's the protagonist, so you're supposed to be on board for him already.
Yeah, but I think Oda knows that, and I think you can kind of get away with that.
Yeah, again, like Don Quixote does exactly that. It, like, in his character, like, gets fleshed out as it goes on. I'm just unclear if that's the role he's playing here.
Well, we just have to. What's that quote?
Read and find out.
Read and find out. Yeah,
We just have to piece it together.
one piece at a time.
One piece at a time.
Okay, no more read it and find out one piece at a time.
One piece at a time. One piece at a time.
I like it.
So
It was your idea, yeah. Of course.
Yeah,
What do you
I like it too. Krieg, starts to
I like that. I like my
display
phrase. What I said.
his trickster side, and he says he's gonna like release poisonous gas on everybody.
Oh, I like that.
And Luffy
And
charges.
I liked it. It was like, oh, you're like impact proof, but you're not gas proof. Like, oh, that's like a solid way of countering that power.
Yeah.
But then he was like, just kidding.
And you shot him.
Yeah, it's just like with like shurikens.
Yeah.
He's like,
It was a
that
cannon.
hurt, you lied.
It was a cannonball, so when he kicked it, it like exploded in knives, which although was like a really clever attack for someone with those abilities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
And everyone's like, you lied? He's like, yeah, I lied.
I think he's like, of course I lied.
I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do.
And I think that it's around this point too that like Jin also says like I can't, like Sanji notices like you're missing on purpose, or you're like he has the upper hand many times, and he's like, you're not delivering the final blow. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And finally Jin's like, I can't do it.
I can't kill you.
Yeah, I can't
because
do
you
it.
saved me.
Yeah, and that's when Krieg really unleashes the poisonous gas, the real poisonous gas, and he tells everybody to like put their gas masks on. And Jin, speaking of like crying characters, Jin's like crying a full or at least a half page where he's just like, "Can we please spare them?
Yeah,
Can we spare them and spare this ship?"
literally like freaking begging him.
Yeah.
Begging him to stop. And he's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I know I said I wouldn't bring it up again.
Oh my God.
But no, this is just the thing. If he which is where I thought it was going, right? If he just fed him, and then like, oh, the captain came back later anyway and like attacked, and then like that would have been like a solid moment, more solid for me.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he like feeds the captain like causes is what like, but I'm like, oh, you had the thing that I would have been completely fine with.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I get it. But I do think it does just illustrate how dedicated Sanji is to, his love of cooking and food. But specifically cooking, I think. Feeding others.
But anyway, this whole Don Krieg.
Yeah.
You got the Don Quixote.
Don Krieg Luffy.
Don Krieg.
No,
Luffy.
Cody.
Wait, who? One of these pirates was named Don something.
Don Krieg.
Don Krieg Luffy. No, that works.
Don Krieg Luffy instead of Don Quixote.
Don Krieg Luffy.
Don Krieg.
Call
okay.
it no.
Anyway,
No.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude.
All right,
it's not for me. Dude.
if that's the
it's not for me, bro.
if that's the consensus, then
It's not for me.
Yeah, so we get this whole fight and it finally ends and
Well,
Jin,
yeah. Well,
Jin.
Well, there's that beautiful moment too when they throw out the gas mask. Krieg's like, don't put yours on. Luffy grabs two and throws them to them. And then the thing goes off and then Luffy's like, fuck. And then you just see one kind of slide over and he throws it on and then it dissipates. And of course it's Jin's. And of course he sacrificed himself and now he's dying of like poison gas. Exposure.
Is that what happened when he breathed in the poison?
Yeah.
And now he's dying of poison. gas.
Yeah,
gas.
but they say there's still time to save him, that if they throw the mask on, there's still a little bit of that whatever antidote or whatever it is and neutralizer in there. And if they get him to like an elevated area, he could breathe clean air. He could probably maybe survive.
Maybe make it. But that was a cool moment too, because you see him really sacrifice himself for Sanji and for Luffy, but I guess mainly for Sanji. See how feeding people works, Cody?
Yeah,
See
dude.
how it can benefit you?
This whole thing was caused by him feeding.
See how it could benefit you a little bit? though?
I mean, he said he would kill everyone, and then he did. He shot like 10 people.
And yeah, you're right. And then the Krieg fight kind of ends with just like a big move, which again, I love Luffy's moves. I love the way that they're drawn. I love the creativity. But which is this fight, the emotional stakes, they weren't literal stakes, weren't here for me. They were, with in other fights. And so it ends with a cool, the gavel where he like wraps his arms around, grabs him, and then spins him. Very cool move. That was kind of the finishing blow, and then everything is kind of over after that. I mean,
And then Jin just picks his ass up and he's like, "We lost.
Yeah,
Get over it." I'm like, that's so cool.
Jin is the winner for sure.
Jin was awesome, and he just
Of
kept
this whole
punching
story.
him when he kept waking up. It's so cool.
Yeah, and I know you're gonna say something else about Sanji, but I mean Jin's like, give us a boat and we'll get out of here.
I know, and Sanji's like, give him a boat.
Yeah, Sanji's like, give him a boat. But at least this time,
To get him away.
it was to get him out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, I like Patty and now Jin more than I like Luffy.
You know,
It's okay.
that might change, but as
Well,
of right now,
he got one moment that made me think like,
Mhm. and I hope it does. But
yeah,
from what we saw, yeah,
it's just, I mean, wanting to be the best something doesn't, you know, you can, there's not what you guys would do, but just saying, but it's about passion. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Everyone has that though. You got to have like emotion and stuff.
and I think we've started to see a little bit of it creeping in.
Yes, when he got stabbed.
Well, and even in the Nami arc, we start to see a little bit more creeping in. But then it's Sanji's
A little more
stretching it. Sanji's beautiful and sad, heartfelt goodbye.
Oh, but before that, those panels,
fantastic ending of that.
Oh, yeah.
story.
What
when
panels?
he's talking to Luffy about the blue line,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
just
he's all
like they're all
excited.
talking about. He's like that little eggplant talking about his dreams, and I'm like, oh, it's his dad.
Yeah.
It's pretty much his dad.
And everybody tells him that his food tastes like crap, his soup tastes like crap, and he's like, I can hear you guys.
And then they're like, no, we were just kidding. But like, we just want him to go on his dream. This is actually really good. Can you give me another bowl before you throw it out? And it's so cute. And he knows it. He knows he's got to go, even though he wants to stay.
Everyone's like, we will, we'll miss you. We'll go do
Oh
your thing.
my
Like,
God.
great, fantastic character.
Dude.
Thing. And then fantastic.
He's
And
walking away and he's just like, stay on dry land. He just breaks down and he's like, I'll never forget you.
And he's
Like,
calling
I
him
love
crap
you.
the whole time, too.
I know.
He's like, I'll
and
never
he's
forget
crying
you.
and everyone else is crying.
And then Patty and Carney were like, we're gonna miss you, man. And then they're like, you crap cooking. She's like, I'm gonna miss you, crap guys. It's just funny.
Aw, it was
and it
such a
worked.
good moment.
Beautiful send off and a beautiful finale and ending to that whole mini Sanji arc. Now we're moving on to Arlong Park.
Arlong.
Which I have to just say right now, as far as character backstory, and we'll get more into it as it goes, as we get closer. As far as character backstory, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. Over Usopp.
It's the most complex.
Oh, yeah. And it's like a long haul.
Yeah.
She really took.
Then Arlong Hall.
You said it once. Don't.
That's what it is.
And over Usopp, over Zoro, over Sanji, even though Sanji was beautiful. I mean, what Oda accomplishes here on an emotional level, for me personally, I connected with it on another level. I was just like taken aback. But they're on their way, right, to find Nami. They think they have a hunch as to where Nami's going because they saw her looking at a bounty that
multiple times,
and they saw her going in the direction. So they're kind of heading towards Arlong Park, and it's just three of them.
Are you shaking that can on purpose?
No, she's just got the shakes.
That's like really bad. Megan is drinking a cup of coffee, and it is shaking like what you would do if you wanted to exaggerate. Shaking.
I don't think she's drank water all day. Have you drank water all day?
Yes.
How much water have you drank?
Good glass.
Like a big glass or a small glass?
It's like a medium.
What's a medium to you? It's not the roast of Megan. It's not the roast of Megan. I just said it's not, and I got that reaction. Do you want it to be?
It was delayed.
Oh, was it?
I did the Cody thing where I didn't hear anything you said. And then
gut reaction.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, it was diss at me.
well, you started it, Cody, so I don't want to hear shit from you.
What the heck?
But they tell them about the seven.
Where's that coming from?
They're on their way to Arlong Park, and they tell them about the seven warlords of the sea and how that works, and how Mihawk is actually one of them. Yeah,
I liked that, how their government recognized pirate leaders. I was like, okay,
on the Grand Line.
now we're getting into the government.
And you guys know from
now we're getting into some government action.
Oh, hell yeah, dude! It only took 9 volumes.
You're telling me the government has them on a list and it's regulated? Oh yeah.
They're freaking corrupt.
I hope we get to see some judicial systems.
Oh yeah. We're talking laws. We're talking papers.
Dang.
But I thought this was cool because from our Undead Unluck episode that I love committees, not committees necessarily, but like groups, councils of like badass characters, like the Hunter exam, or not the Hunter exam, but at the end of Hunter x Hunter, that final arc where you get all the pro hunters. Love it, dude. Love it.
It's fun.
It's super fun, and I had Cody save it. And Mihawk Swan. And then we are introduced, or their name is dropped. Jimbei, the fish man, who was a leader of the fishmen. Yes, Cody?
So this is a thing. So when the cat people showed up, I was like, oh, so there are they're just animal
But they're
people.
not, though.
They're not, but these
So
people
those
are.
weren't.
Those weren't.
But now there actually are animal
And
people.
I knew you were going to have a problem with this.
This isn't a problem. I'm just clarifying. So there are people
Yeah.
who like to dress up as animals.
Yes.
Yes,
And
like
then
in
there's
real
people-
life.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And everyone is fine with it on a scale.
Which we've already established, yes.
It's not a scale. Some people are fine with a full.
Everyone's fine with cat ears. No one has a problem. And it's like, why do you find
It's
those
like
attractive?
a weird threshold. But
Yeah. But now there are also animal people, and that is
Fish people.
fish people.
Fish are animals.
Debatable.
You know what? You can debate it. I'll
you.
give you that.
Thank you.
You could debate it with
That's
someone
all
if you
I
wanted
want.
to.
That's all I've ever wanted.
You'd be wrong, but you
I'd
could
be
debate
on,
it.
I'd be on a side.
It is debatable. You didn't say which side you were on, too.
Didn't say it, did I? Run it back. But yes, those were not cat people.
Those were cosplayers.
Those were people who were very passionate about cats and just wanted to be a unit and all dress the same.
Yeah.
And have a theme.
This is
Have
gonna
their
be
thing.
we all gotta have a thing.
And then these are actually half fish, half men.
That have the strength of 10 men.
Yeah, maybe even more.
Maybe more. 30 men? I don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
But Jimbei the fish and Arlong, he sent Arlong to the East Blue to sort of, I guess, just sort of rule it.
and sort of mess around.
Just mess around, play around. And so we're kind of given that sort of information as they're heading toward Arlong Park. And then we cut to Arlong Park where we see this naval officer, this Navy Captain Nezumi, who looks like a rat. And we see our first shot of Sawtooth or Arlong. What I love about these like opening shots of these captains is they're just so badass.
They're
Like,
so badass in their thrones.
in
And
their
they're
little
just like,
thrones. Yeah. And I love Arlong's look too as like, again, character design. I think he's so cool.
Yeah, he's got the nose. He's got the little, shark hat.
He's wearing like a
So
Hawaiian
cool.
shirt too.
You know what? I am a sucker for a sea themed person, like any like fish themed person, like wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
It's fun.
It's just so
Fun.
like, yeah, they're like dressed for the beach. Yeah.
It's their
Yeah, all
life.
that's missing is like a
Yeah.
little strip of sunscreen.
Yeah.
And,
I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I will honestly, I'll never get tired of it. I
Yeah.
can see it 50 times like that. Oh, I love that guy.
and then we see this. We see Nami sort of approaching the gates, and she's like beating up this kid from this village.
Yeah, I was like,
Gosa.
damn, mommy.
Nami is like ruthless during this part of the story. Then we see, and I made sure to write their names down because the gang gets like really broken up around here. So we have Johnny, Usopp, and Zoro who arrive, but how this all goes down is so crazy because they all arrive. Zoro wants to just like go in guns blazing. Johnny and Usopp are like, no, we're going to tie you up. But then right as they tie him up, like Arlong's pirates see them. And so Johnny and Usopp are like, we're out of here.
Fucking Zoro just gets in these situations. He's always like the Daphne of the group.
Okay, yeah, I guess a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's also the thing, like the most competent fighter, he's always taken out.
I know.
Yeah.
Taken out of commish,
Out of
or
commish.
just tied up.
And then they dip. And then once they get to wherever they're at, they're confronted again. And then Johnny leaves. So they all scatter.
They're like, he fought bravely, and he's like, you motherfuckers, I want to kill you.
Yeah. So everybody's all split up, but Usopp runs across and meets Nojiko. Nojiko, who is going to be a very important character, at least for this arc.
Mm-hmm.
She invites him into her house and says, and they talk about this witch of Arlong Park that this kid is there bringing up. And once she sets him straight, she reveals to Usopp that she's like, yeah, this is where the witch of Arlong Park grew up. And that witch is actually Nami.
What?
Yeah. And, Usopp's pretty pissed right now because she said that she's kind of vague about
pretty pissed off.
He's
peeved.
pretty peeved up.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, you did.
He's
too.
pieced off. Yeah. Yeah. It was good. Because the way Nojiko is like telling him everything, she's saying like, yeah, she betrayed her people. She's like she's choosing what information she gives Usopp. And I think at this point she's still pretending, I guess like she also doesn't know why Nami is doing the things that she's doing, which is a plot point later on. But yeah, she's like, yeah, she betrayed her people, and she's just looking out for. She's just trying to get treasure. She's a thief, and Usopp's like, well, that really pisses me off. And he's like, I just want to get our ship, and I want to get out of here. There's just
I at first when it goes into her doing this, I'm like, all right, so they're gonna make up in like the next chapter, and I'm like, I was actually like, oh, I think she might just do this.
Yeah. She goes on for a long time being this way. And I guess I forgot to mention too that she's not just anybody, she's her stepsister.
Yes.
Nojiko's her stepsister.
Yes.
Yeah. This is where it's going to get a little broken up. There's a moment where I really want to talk about what happens, but it's just because characters are kind of everywhere right now. Zoro ends up getting captured, right? This is where they're kind of testing Nami a little bit. They're like, Zoro's captured in front of Arlong, yeah, and all of his crew, and they're suspicious of her because I guess why wouldn't they be? So he's tied up and he sees her. They have their interaction. She's like, I played you. Don't you feel stupid? And then Zoro just kind of smiles and like throws himself into the water. And of course she dives in to save him. And I think that's why they're even more suspicious after that. Like, what are you doing? And then they just say, lock him up because we have to go handle some stuff in Cocoa Village, which is where, one of my favorite characters, I think his name is Genzo. Like the mayor of that town.
Oh yeah,
with a little pinwheel.
Yeah,
love that guy.
Yeah,
The mayors are
love
always
him.
goofy in this world. That's
Yeah. But I couldn't tell you why this one specifically. When I see him, I'm just like, I fucking love that guy. I would
Yeah.
like die for that guy.
Yeah,
That's how passionate.
Would you dive for him?
I would. Yes, I would dive.
Oh,
I mean, I feel like dying is lower stakes than dying.
you
Dying
could
and diving her. Yeah.
if you jump from a high enough place, you could dive and die.
It'd be pretty high stakes if you climbed high enough.
There we go.
Mhm.
There we go. Is Don Krieg back? Because we got stakes.
But I really believe
Yeah.
that
All right.
Nami.
You wanted to bring that pun back.
I really did believe that Nami was like straight up with these pirates because like she shows off her tat.
Oh, she tatted up like you.
Tatted up. Look at Josh gave this to me.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you, if you just sat at an angle, it would show up on camera the whole time.
So
Yeah, it's permanent. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
Megan
I
has
actually-
a Naomi tattoo.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
for the listeners, it's pretty dope.
How much would it take, or how many comments, or how many upvotes?
I think if we get 2,000 likes in
Stop
1 week.
speaking for me.
Hold on.
because
If we get
you speak
2,000
things
Can I-
into fruition.
Can I just finish my
Let
sentence?
the man finish.
If we get 2,000 likes, okay, Megan will get that
okay,
tattoo.
I didn't want you to
Can
finish
I
that sentence.
finish my sentence?
How many likes is it going to take?
I'm not gonna.
Honestly,
I'm not gonna
how
do
many
it.
would it take?
Honestly. Think if it's not
500 million.
Oh, there we
you
go.
heard it. 500 million likes on this video, and that's permanent.
Well, this is Nami, so you guys didn't see I'm crossing my feet.
Oh.
'Cause I'm a trickster.
We already made the deal. 5
No,
million.
I was crossing my feet.
Megan, you got to admit, though, that looks pretty sick. Look
I
at it.
know.
You wouldn't
It's
rock
like,
that in real
It
life?
would be, even if someone doesn't get it, they'd be like, that's a cool tattoo.
Exactly. Dude.
And that's the ideal like reference tattoo.
Yes.
It's something that stands on its own.
Megan,
I
just
want a
think about it.
dongo.
I know.
What?
You know the big dongo family?
Yeah. Oh, from
The
Clannad.
bubble, the little circles.
They're
I
dongos.
would get the tattoos from BioShock where it's just a chain, it's just one chain link on each wrist. And then
Okay.
if you hold your wrist, it's like you're like tied up and then you break it.
Get it.
Because you're like chained
Get
down
it.
by society.
Get
yes,
it,
by society.
Because we live in one.
We do live in one. Yeah. So.
Very true.
Yeah, so Zoro is captured, right? And
Yes.
Arlong's at Cocoa Village dealing with
Cocoa
Genzo, and Zoro just breaks out, and Nami actually lets him go before she heads off.
Mhm.
She's like, "Get out of here," and Zoro's like, "She's up to something,"
Yeah.
you know, which of course she is.
And
Yeah,
it's
but
also like
he's
you're not
helping.
being. I mean, she tied you up and let you out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not
I
not
like the
exactly
little-
a detective move.
Right.
I had the little interaction though with like the octopus guy
Oh,
and
Hachi,
Zoro.
yeah.
Yeah, so funny. And
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
so
I'm one of
funny.
his guests. He's like, oh, okay. And he's like feeding something that we don't know what it is yet.
Oh, yeah.
And then we find out what it is, and I was like,
And we find
this
out
is
why.
cool.
Yeah. I think, is that why it wasn't coming out? Like, is that told out of order? Like, because he's trying to feed it and he's like, it's not coming out.
Yeah.
And then, but then I guess that wouldn't have happened in that order because of the way it crashes into the island later. Okay, never mind. Back on track. I got it. Okay, I got it. I figured it out. So I just had a whole conversation with
Yeah,
myself.
I know. That was.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you guys for listening.
Each week.
Each week.
So yeah, everything's kind of everywhere. Zoro, yeah, Nami lets Zoro out. Zoro defeats everybody. Nami leaves. Then he tells Hachi, like, I'm looking for Arlong and Usopp because he overhears that, like, Usopp's in trouble. And Usopp is in Cocoa Village and he's, like, flinging things down.
Who's
at
Slop? He's like, I'm Usopp. And they're like,
Oh, yeah,
who's Slop?
Usopp. Yeah, yeah.
Who's Slop? He's like, Usopp.
Yeah, sick burn.
Sick
by the way.
burn. I love that.
Sick burn. And he's trying to defend them. And then we're let in on, like, how much strength Arlong actually has. Because when Usopp tries to, like, get him from the rooftop, Arlong just lifts the whole building up and, like, attempts to flip it upside down or whatever, which we saw that's what he did to Gosha Village. And then we realize that there's a tribute, that there's the system that's in place that Arlong asked, like, Gosha didn't pay their money. And he's basically a mafia boss where he goes and he collects money and everybody owes money and Gosha didn't. That's why it's destroyed. And also to prevent rebellion, there's a rule of law that you can't have any weapons. Someone saw Genzo with a weapon and Genzo makes a pretty good argument. He's like, our revenge is survival and enduring.
Yes, the best revenge is living a good life,
Yes.
which is what people who screw people over want you to believe.
I mean, if I was screwing you over and that was your mentality, I mean, that'd be pretty good.
You
for
would
me.
be fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you'd be fine with it too.
I wouldn't. If I lived the best life, I'd be like, man, I really got screwed over.
You really think that?
I'm thinking that about a car accident right now.
Oh,
that
wow.
I was.
Too true.
I could live the best life, and I will hate that guy.
And I don't blame you for that. So then Hachi
That's
is
my
with
revenge.
Zoro.
It's hatred.
Now we cut back to Luffy, Sanji,
Maybe popping
and
some tires if I can find it.
oh right, be on the lookout for Cody in parking lots near you. Luffy, Sanji, and Yosuke versus the Sea Cow. This is the Sea Cow.
Sea
that we saw
cow. Hell yeah. Momo the
You like
sea
the sea
cow.
cow?
Mm-hmm.
I like the sea cow too.
Yeah. Were you
Yeah.
gonna make a joke?
No,
He was gonna call me a sea cow.
I wasn't gonna do anything.
He was gonna call me a sea cow.
I wasn't gonna do anything. I didn't say it. He's a fun character.
I liked Momo.
He was very cool.
Very cool.
I liked him, and I'm watching you.
Nothing happened. And we're moving on.
And even Sanji tries to even feed the cow.
I know. Yeah. He does try to feed him and then he tries to eat him and he's like, he tried to just eat me with
Yeah.
the food. Of course I was going to kick him with my super long legs.
And then, they're able to Luffy's able to wrangle him and they use him to get to Arlong Park.
Oh, you actually are Sanji because you can kick.
Oh.
Yeah, you're a kicker.
Yeah.
You're a kicker.
For people who don't know, Megan can kick up to someone's head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
head
can.
specifically.
I know. I try not to do it to Cody because I'll just glasses off, broken.
Which is the worst thing to happen to.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, maybe
Yeah.
with the glasses off, we'll do it sometime.
Well, they're never coming.
I have to pee so bad. I'm going to end up cutting this out, but you guys keep talking. I just have to
Okay.
pee. And because I really want to talk about this, what's coming up, and I just can't hold it in anymore. But
Okay.
go ahead, keep
Okay.
talking. Because maybe if it's like,
Just go pee.
If you just cut to us.
or maybe you guys could just, how about this? Steer the ship, entertain the people.
Okay.
I'm a quick peer, by the
Okay.
way, for everybody watching.
That's
listening.
Okay, ready,
Get
Cody?
ready, entertainment. Do a good job.
Ahoy!
Do it.
Yarr.
Oh, yar, mateys.
Here we are on the Grand Line.
Here
we
we-
made it. I ate a fruit, by the way. It gave me. I call it the cum fruit. That's what I found out.
I ate the fun fruit.
There we go. We're the two people with the fruits. It's
And
two sounds.
I'm
and they
too
rhyme.
fun for everyone.
And I do something else.
What?
I can't talk about it.
And now we're back. Usopp ends up trying to shoot Arlong. Genzo stands up for him. Usopp ends up getting captured,
Mhm.
taken back to Arlong Park. And this is a really cool scene.
It tricked me. It
Did it
really did.
really?
It got me a little bit, but I obviously, like I said before, but this one I was like, how is he gonna get out of
Yeah,
that?
wasn't a more of like he's gonna die necessarily? More
Or
so
he's
that's
just
like
gonna-
how are they gonna
What
pull this
Yeah.
off?
trick did I
Yeah.
miss here? That
And it was a trick.
And it was satisfying, right?
Yeah.
The reveal.
Totally.
Because that's the worst when somebody tries to attempt a false
Death.
a false death, or a fake out, and then you
Mhm.
realize how it happened. And you're like, that's not.
Stupid.
The way to handle it is like, look, this is a main character. I know you know that,
Yeah.
and it's like, but how did it happen?
Yes. And I was
Because otherwise it's like, it was a body double that I propped up using marionette puppets.
when it gets too elaborate, that's when
Yeah.
it gets.
It
That's
was
when
a
it's
dummy I
bad.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it a Cody?
No.
Oh,
What the-
yeah. It was two
No.
dummies.
2 Codys.
Ha, yes. You
Oh.
and me together, we're here.
Well, as long as I got some company.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so cool. So yeah, what happens is like once they get there, Nami has to prove her loyalty, especially because of the
Again,
whole
and
Zoro
again,
thing. Yeah,
and
I mean,
again.
and they're right to like be suspicious. I mean,
Because they're right to be suspicious.
Well,
oh,
yeah,
because
but
and they're not idiots. Like they know. I mean, they killed someone that mattered to her, and I think even Arlong at this point in the story says that.
Yeah.
like
he says that in front of Zoro, and
Yeah.
her face was like
she's
damn.
not happy.
No.
So when Usopp is there, she under cover of like Usopp's smoke, but one of his smoke bombs, she rushes up to him and looks like she puts a knife right through him, right into his gut.
She's even
and
saying
kills him.
stuff to him. Like
Yeah.
in the moment, she's just like, yeah, blah, like talking shit. And all of them were like, yeah, Nami, we knew
Yeah.
you were good.
Yeah. And I can't remember if it's Johnny or Yosuke. One of them sees this all happen.
I think
too.
it was Johnny. I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it all down, but at this point,
We have it here.
No, I mean, it's one of them. I mean, they're both brothers, love them both. But if we get them mixed up, I don't think anybody's going to really come at us unless they're,
Johnny stands.
Johnny stands.
Like they see like, oh, she stabbed them. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be though surely there was a misunderstanding. I can't even pretend to not believe that it wasn't a trick she pulled.
Yeah. I have it right here, Megan. I have it right here that Nami proves her loyalty and eases suspicion by killing Usopp, which Johnny sees.
Knew it was Johnny.
I
mean, that's you already said that. What do you mean you?
Well, no, she said she was looking at because I said it could have been him or his brother.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah. His brother Johnny.
Oh, Johnny.
So yeah, everybody again because everybody is everywhere. Luffy and the gang they crash into Zoro within their ship. Right, they've got the sea cow. It's at the front of their ship. They're literally it's pulling them so fast they slam into the shore. It
I
sends
like
them
that.
flying through the air. Zoro's like. I'm at Arlong Park looking for Usopp, and then I find out he's in Cocoa Village. I go to Cocoa Village, and now he's in Arlong Park. He's like, where everybody is everywhere. I can't find anybody, and then the ship crashes into him. Then Johnny tells them, now that they're all kind of finally together, Sister Nami killed Usopp, and now everybody's freaking out about that.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point, I like that it doesn't linger too long. Like nobody... This moment lasts, I think, the perfect amount of time before it's taken advantage of. Because like you said, like we're all aware that Usopp is alive. And so when later on we see him and then very quickly he meets back up with them and he tells them everything that
Yeah,
that
so
happened.
the drama is not so much that I'm supposed to believe that he's dead, it's that the characters do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's how you handle a main character being in danger. Like,
Yeah, fake out
yeah.
her. Yeah.
Yeah. But right before that too, Nami kind of confronts Luffy and has this like really intense moment where she's like, leave. She's like, I don't want you here.
She's scary.
I don't know who you think I am. I don't know. I tricked you. None of anything was real. Like, leave. And she's being like, in the moment, she's being serious, but she's really being convincing because she just doesn't want them to mess up what she's been working towards for years and
Fair.
years and years. So then Usopp meets up with him and tells him everything that happened. It's funny though, right here, this part, Nojiko comes back and wants to tell them everything that happened to her and Nami, wants to tell them all of their backstory, how Arlong came there, why Nami's doing the thing she's doing. And this was a really cool character moment for Luffy. I don't know if it's intended to be this way, but I love that Luffy was like, I don't want to hear it. It could be played for a gag.
Yeah,
where
they was like,
"I
he's
don't care."
quirky.
But it also, to me, felt like he's like, I know who Nami is. I believe who Nami is. I don't need to be convinced. It might have not. It wasn't maybe supposed to be taken that way, but that is how I took it.
There's definitely two ways to go down there because he is also of the persona as being I'm the fun protagonist guy and I heart the power of heart.
Okay. How did you take it that way? Did you take it as a gag or more of like?
I took it in like what you're saying, like he does believe in her, but I just took it as like also like he doesn't need to know because he's gonna make his own opinion off of her without knowing her past.
You know what? If you took her to court, it would be a tsunami.
Cody, I wish you would have been like. I wish you would have set it up better because it's really good. But you phoned in the setup.
I thought about it and like what that is the best setup I could have given it.
Yeah, I think you should have said it like.
Wow.
Yeah, if she tried to kill me, I would sue her. I would sue her. Because maybe it's and yeah, you're right. You had it. Yeah, it's really tricky.
It was a tough situation. Like but like too much setup is.
If Nami ever tried to do me wrong, it would tsunami.
But I think Cody's problem is that like you're missing out on the where does the water part, where does the ocean part, the tsunami part come into the joke? You know. It's we got to work on it. We'll punch it up.
If Nami stole my ship, I would tsunami.
That's a little bit better.
You know what? And like, down that road, I can see something where it's like, if she stole my ship, I would hope to tsunami. Yeah, and that kind of wraps it all together.
That's what that's the missing piece.
Yeah, and now we can
the missing one piece. Yeah.
Yes, you join in at the second word.
I love when people join at the last syllable. Yes. So Luffy heads out, and I choose to believe it's because he believes in who Nami is and doesn't need to hear her backstory. And I love how Zoro's like, yeah, I'm gonna listen. I want to listen, and then he just falls asleep. That to me is quirky.
That was
that
kind of.
I mean, he is he's fucked up though.
I don't think
he's
it was fucked up.
constantly fucked up. No, he's like physically always just fucked up. Yeah. So he's always sleeping or at a commish.
Yeah,
we saw this in another similar movie, or not similar, but we saw this in the movie Promare, where someone's given an exposition dump and they start falling asleep.
Yeah.
Zoro more like Zoro.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
if it's not coming to you. You don't have to.
I mean,
continue.
Yeah.
You all right there, Megan?
Megs?
Hanging in there?
Oh,
sorry about that. Got a show to do.
The show must go on. We are but performers.
We are but jesters.
Jesters.
Okay.
Clown jesters.
Yeah, let's get serious now.
Let's get serious because this is my favorite. So Nojiko tells anybody who wants to listen.
Anyone who's still around.
Just a couple folks who just rolled up into town.
Tells Sanji, Usopp, and Johnny, I think, or Yosuke and Johnny. And this backstory was the one that hit the hardest, emotionally made me feel the most. She tells a story of them as children in Belmere. Beautiful name.
Belmere.
Beautiful name.
Which would mean...
You know what that means?
No, I thought it was going to mean beautiful something, but beau means beautiful in French, not belle.
Mm.
Oh, no, to a belle. Yeah, belle means love.
Belle means love in French?
Yeah. Well, not the spelling exactly, but the sound.
Oh.
I'm wrong.
I just believe you, okay? And I'm fine with that. I've lived a happy life.
Huh. Really?
Yes, I like to question you when it's like, if it's gonna be fun for me, but if it's just gonna keep it moving, then I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
Oh.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Not good.
I'm sorry. I'm really making enemies at the end of the podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into this though. I think that Belmere and her story, I mean, they're little girls, Nami and Nojiki, and their relationship we're just let in on them being poor and growing up poor, and Nami always getting Nojiki's like hand-me-downs, and how even like Belmere, the small touches, like she really does care for these girls, like the little things that she does, even though they're poor. She doesn't just give Nami Nojiko's clothes. She gives Nami Nojiko's clothes, but like adds a little touch to them. Like there was one dress that had a sunflower on it, but she added it and made it a lion. And
Yeah,
she's
and
really
like
trying.
obviously she's like, oh no,
Trying with the line.
you know, you guys have the dinner or whatever, and they're like, no, aren't you gonna eat? She's like, oh, I'm on a diet. I'm just gonna eat tangerines, and it's like, no, you're not eating because you can't eat. And she's like, no, I'm on a diet. And I was like, oh, that's
And
nice.
it's cute that Nami's already kind of a little thief. She's stolen books so that she can like learn cartography or like how to draw maps. And that's been her dream since she was a kid. She wants to like chart a map of the entire world. And it's
You love joining in at the last one.
I do like it.
it emphasizes the point,
Yeah.
or it emphasizes the end of a sentence.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, okay.
She was gonna keep.
I was
doing
gonna.
it.
Keep going.
But it's so beautiful, and I really love this relationship because what they're able to convey in such a short amount of time with these characters and the amount of love that Belmir like feels for them. I mean, I really bought into it hard. Like I like these little touches really sold it for me. And we find out that Belmir, when she was a kid, she used to be the village like hooligan, and she went off to become a sailor, specifically like a fighting sailor, and
That's a good
she
school, team name, like mascot, the Fighting Sailors.
I like it. Yeah. Anything else?
Wow, that was it. Just
All right.
checking out.
Checking in, checking out. But then she found Nami and Nojiko on the battlefield. And when she found them, Belmir was ready to die and ready to give up. And she just saw them as little girls. And she's like, is that your sister? And Nojiko was like, no, she's just this little girl that I found, I guess. And Belmir decided to live to take care of them. Like they gave her a will to live. It's all these little things. It's like, for me, it hit everything perfectly. Bullseye, every emotional beat. In terms of like and we haven't even got to like the end of it, but like, how are you guys feeling about this? That we got Sanji's, we got Usopp's, we got a little bit of Zoro's.
Again, it's just really satisfying to see like the character and what she's done in the past couple volumes. Like it all makes sense. Like and the fact that she did do those things for the village instead of them just being like, oh no, she's just a traitor and she's just a stealer. Like, no, she was doing it for them. Like that was super satisfying to me. And like, it's not just because she's the witch. She's just fucking trying to help them out.
Yeah. Cody?
It seems to me that they're going up in how complex the origins are. Like as we go, so Usopp's like, oh, that was nice, and then Sanji's like goes across like way more things and it's more connected to things, and then hers is like way more emotional for me at least. And then I'm like, all right, so like this is building up a trust in me to like, so I assume when I'm supposed to like feel for Luffy, he's really gonna pull it off.
Pull that off.
Oh yeah. And maybe that is a part of it too. Maybe we're building up to Luffy instead of just ignoring him. It's all been a build up.
Yes, and I'm sure I believe that if he does get an origin, I will like it, and I'll say I wish I got that at the beginning of the story.
And I believe, and I know that to be true. And you will not stop saying it. You will say it over and over again.
I'll repeat myself like 4 times
to the point where I'll say like, we get it. Yeah. Where this story like really, really lands for me though, is they get in this huge argument, and Nami basically tells Belmir, like, you're not my mom. She runs off. She tells Nojiko, like, go find her. I'll cook dinner and I'll make, we'll eat, cause she slaps Nami across the face.
Oh yeah.
For saying that they're not blood.
Yeah. That moment was real. That moment was so real.
Very, very real. And that's why Nami runs off and says, you're not even my mom and you're not even my sister. And it was just that little touch of like Belmir saying like, go get her. I'll make dinner. We'll smooth this all over. Cut to like Arlong's pirates getting there.
For the first time.
For the very first time. They come in. They're saying, okay, every adult, we need 100 berries or however much. And then 100 million. I don't know, 100, I think. And then for adults, we need 50. Or for kids, we need 50. For adults, we need 100.
You get the kids discount.
Get the kids discount 50% off. And
the olden times.
And everybody's crossing their fingers like, okay, everybody knows she's broke. Her, house is on the outskirts of the village. They won't see it. If we just all just kind of do what we got to do and everybody has the money, then we can avoid something really bad happening. And then,
of course,
But the thing that really was the nail in the coffin is they saw the smoke
from her cooking
and then
a
it just
meal.
cuts to Belmir just like happy as can be, cooking a meal for these two girls, and you're just like, damn, it had to be that. It
I
had
know.
to be because of that.
I know. She could have been eating tangerines,
Oh my god! If she would have been eating tangerines, none of this would have happened.
but she did it for Nami because she was upset and sad.
Then they get there and they find the house. They get there. There's no record of Nojiko and Nami being her kids. So
Mhm.
they're like, just pay 100, and
Which
you
is
know,
literally all she has.
which is all she has. And they're like, Nami and Nojiko, you can just leave, I guess.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
gonna put her
that's-
on a boat, put them on boat to boat, and it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, so it does.
like just send them away.
The best option they could come up with at the time.
But they're like, they might die if they go to sea. By
Yeah, but
themselves.
Genzo's like, but they'll for sure die. if they
yeah,
stay here.
yeah. So it's double-edged sword.
So then-
Double-edged swordfish.
sword nose.
Sword nose.
No, but swordfish is the name of the fish. Yours was better.
Okay, thank you for correcting me and then
I
telling me
didn't
that was
correct you. I
better.
tried to punch you.
Yeah,
in the face
very.
sometimes. Sometimes you try to help, and you realize that it was in good hands all along. You know, you can say you forgive me if you want.
You can.
You know what?
You can stay out of this, dude.
I think you just need to fin.
Well, now I'm not on your side anymore.
Yeah, you lost both of
Now-
us.
Dang it.
Yeah.
If you said nothing,
And
it would have been fine.
Yeah, you would have really stuck it to me. But
like a swordfish.
Mm-hmm.
hole getting deeper. So Belmir, being the like valiant, noble person she is, she's like, she knows that they're gonna have to leave because
Mhm.
Arlon's gonna keep coming back for this money, and they're gonna find out sooner or later. So they have to leave, and she realizes like, she gives them the 100, and she's like, it's for my two girls, 50-50.
Oh my god. She's like, I won't tell them that I don't have daughters. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. And I was like,
See, but this is like this is like to your Sanji point though, which I can kind of see where you're coming from. This is a noble act, but it also matters because like you could say like, oh yeah, she could have just lied about the kids to save herself and protect Nami and Nojiko, but they couldn't have stayed there had she done that. So like it was a sweet moment, but it had to happen.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah.
This makes berries.
This makes berries. Yes. Go off, King.
Yeah.
And it was sad because then, you know, she gets made an example of, and it's very graphic. I mean, not very, but I mean, for One Piece,
Very.
I mean, it's very. Thank you, Cody. Fuck, you're so good.
well, it's graphic because I mean, it's like so they're like on their way, they're like running to go like get her. Like it's so sad, and they see her, and it's just like
Gun to the head, and just bam, and then you know,
just crying.
Nami
She's like,
just
"Oh,
there,
I
like,
love you
screaming,
guys." Yeah, it's so sad.
and her cigarette gets put out in her own blood, and it's just like Jesus Christ, very sad.
But you have to put the cigarettes out. That's
don't want to
fire
start
safety.
Don't want to start a fire. I mean, I was just like emotionally drained after that. I mean, even reading it a second time, you know, this one still hit me like I was reading it for the very, very first time. I mean, it was definitely so far has been my favorite origin story. But after we, you know, get let in on Nami's past, Genzo, and this is we're coming to the very end. Genzo's approached by that like sort of rat captain, naval officer Nezumi, who asks him to lead him to Nami's house. He's looking for Nami. And this whole time, Arlong's been saying, like, the Arlong's pirates or crew has been saying, like, you're really going to let Nami go? You know, after she pays you 1 million berries, you know, you're really going to let her go? We can't afford to lose her. She's so good at, you know, what she does. And he's like, I'm a man of my word. But he's always saying it. He's always laughing.
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing that we realize, too, is that when Nami's in the house, we realize that how, I don't know if we've already said how she tricked everybody into believing that she killed Usopp. Was that she put her hand?
Yeah.
She put her hand. I don't know if
yeah.
we explicitly
No,
said
I don't
that.
think
No,
we
we
said
never addressed.
Yeah, she stabs her
Yeah.
hand in order to make it look like she killed him, and that was pretty cool. And she's like, I mean, obviously she's like losing blood and shit.
Yeah. Very rewarding payoff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to hand it to her.
And he's back. Unfortunately,
The
he's
king
back.
has returned.
And also, you know, and what reminded me of it was like payoffs and how even Arlong, being this deceitful guy who I know is going to betray Nami or not let her go, like I was also curious the whole time, you know, when I was first reading it, like, how is he going to keep her?
Mhm.
He keeps saying he's a man of his word. Is this going to have a satisfying sort of payoff? And even that kind of does, because it is a loophole.
Yeah,
for a villain, but still.
Yeah, I don't think I ever believed him.
No, I didn't either, but I was like, how is he going to get out of it?
Yeah.
And it's just like the stabbing. It's like, you know, it's not going to happen, but how is it not going to happen?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is clever. It was clever because he's just going to send this naval officer to Nami's house. He's gonna hear murmurs that she's a thief, that that's stolen treasure, and he basically says that stolen treasure belongs to the people it belongs to. I need to confiscate it, and they go in and they confiscate it.
That was heartbreaking. That was like 8 years
Yeah.
of her trying to just make it for Belmere. Like
And-
she just kept saying like, I'm doing this for her. Like I'm gonna get you guys out of here and save them. And like it was just like, oh damn.
It even says something to the corruption of the government and how like governments can be corrupt, because even Genzo's just like, I don't mean to break it to you, Cody, but things are a mess.
What?
Yeah.
You mean the government system that you don't like, dear audience? Whichever one it is can be corrupt?
All governments.
What the heck?
Yeah, worldwide.
What?
Mr.
No.
Worldwide.
Oh,
Yeah.
365.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, what?
It's so like it's a powerful story, this Arlong arc, because it's also like, damn, that is also an interesting story of corrupt government and how governments can be corrupt, and how like Genzo's speech to him saying like, this is a village who needs you. Gosa was a village that needed you, and you're here for this. You're here for some petty thievery,
Pirate thievery
when Arlong and his crew are killing and murdering people. Like, I don't know. Even that layer on top of everything else is like, damn, this is doing it for me. But then
it looks like, you know, given the choice between the government and pirates, it's a pirate's life for me.
it's been like hit and miss with you this whole episode.
Yeah.
Dude.
Which one was that?
That was
Hit.
a hit.
That was a hit.
All right.
That was a hit, dude. And we're kind of coming to the end, and so you might want to like keep them hits.
Mhm.
All right. I'll throw one more miss in on purpose, and then I'll.
That's good.
But
I'm gonna start doing that.
I love the.
I'm gonna not be funny 2 or 3 more times on purpose.
We'll see which one gets it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll forget, depending on the reaction. Yeah.
I do. I mean, the speech when she goes back into the village, just like before, when she tells them, "Oh, I'm gonna be a part of Arlong's crew now," and then her versus Older being like, "I'm just gonna start over. Don't worry about it, guys. Like, I'm gonna get all the money back." And you could just tell she's just like devastated, and he's just like, "No, like you're not. We're gonna do this for you." And they're
He just like hugs her, and he's like, he hugs her, he embraces her, and he's like, "You've done enough."
I know,
Because they've been pretending like they don't know, but of course they know.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah.
I love that too, because she thought all this time that they hated her and she had to play this villain, and she didn't have to because everyone knew already.
But they did that so that if she ever felt like she wanted to leave, like they wanted her to just give up. Not because they, you know, didn't want her to succeed, but because like they didn't want her to like waste her life and forfeit her dreams to like help what they think is probably a lost cause anyway.
That was
very
a
beautiful.
lot.
The most like emotional fucking moment of the whole goddamn all these volumes.
The
is,
picture Megan has drawn.
Oh, Megan drew it. Let's see if it shows up on camera.
It never shows up.
Oh, it's a little too overexposed. Oh, it kind of does show up.
Yeah,
a
the
little bit.
one time you didn't color in your picture.
Yeah, if you would have colored it in, it would have showed up.
Megan drew a very good picture of this scene of
Nami crying.
Because Nami obviously finds out that Arlong was the one who sent the naval officer there. I mean, she finds out, and she comes back and she's a wreck. And Luffy just kind of like saunters up.
He's like, "What happened?"
And you know, I didn't know it. I kind of forgot that this happened. I mean, she's like, "Luffy." And I'm thinking she's going to chew him out again. She's going to tell him to leave. She's going to tell him to get the fuck out of here like she's been doing this whole time. And then she just turns around and like you're drawing, she's full of tears in her eyes. She's just like, "Help."
And then he's like,
and then he's like, "No, I'm done."
and then he gives
I'm so over all of this.
Yeah.
He gives,
I don't want to be a pirate
he
anymore.
gives her his hat,
Yeah.
and then she remembers what he said about his hat, how it's his treasure,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Please."
Yeah.
And that's where it ends. And it took me I can't wait for the next volume.
I That was such an amazing note to end
Yes.
because it leaves
Yes.
you so excited and so thirsty for
Yes.
more. Yeah. So we have one more part left to do. We're keeping it a little bit shorter for our final part. We have 3 volumes to cover, meaning we'll have more time to address your comments, your corrections, all those good things. I have a few questions before we end. I just want to keep an update throughout all of these to see if now, because we have met more characters and had a little bit more backstory, has your favorite character list changed at all? Is your order flip-flopping a little bit?
Huh.
For main characters?
Yeah. Or actually, you know what? Who are your like some of your favorite standout characters?
He likes
Patty.
Patty.
And then Jin. I like them.
Still so far to where we're at currently. Those are still your favorites.
I mean, I got the biggest like for joy and surprising stuff. I got them. Now Naomi has like gone way up as far as like
Yeah.
being,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
a full character. I think she is the most like fleshed out character now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Totally agree. I take back what I said in the last episode.
Yeah.
I would like Sanji, but I'm like, you're kind of an absurd human being.
It's gonna take a lot.
And the thing is, like, I have a character like with Naomi who like is like all of it made sense and is complex and emotional. And with him, like most of it was, but I'm like, and you're still, but you did that. I'm like, you're above Luffy for sure.
Yeah, and when I read it the first time, or when I remembered it from my childhood, Sanji was always top of my list. But I will admit, and I think I've said it before, but he has gone farther and farther down. I mean, Zoro's definitely up there, Usopp's definitely up there, and especially Nami after this.
Although
is up there.
I feel like Usopp kind of took the back seat.
Oh,
A lot of this,
definitely. Yeah, but he was still funny.
Yeah, he had his still moments.
Yeah.
Has your list changed at all? You said Nami's higher, but I mean, Usopp was your number 1 last time.
Usopp was number 1. I'd have to say after this volume, I might have Nami second.
And then Zoro third?
Zoro third.
Top 3 is fine. We don't
Top 3.
top
Okay,
three
top
makes it-
3. That's
top
my
three.
top 3 as of right now. Volume 9, One Piece.
And we'll see how it
Volume
ends
done
at
piece.
the end of this East
And I
Blue arc.
feel like Zoro like he pops in to have a moment, and then he tends to always just sort of like fade away into the.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I think when you're juggling a cast of characters like that, I think it's hard to give them all
Well, especially
equal attention.
yeah, especially it's like this is Nami's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
introduction
yeah.
arc, so obviously they're not going to be front and center. But he did have some good moments. When he tossed himself in the pool, that was really cool because he knew he was going to save her. And then Usopp, same thing. He was like, "Why did she save me?" Like they're sprinkled here and there. I would say maybe what's his name? Not Luffy,
Usopp,
not Usopp.
Sanji.
Maybe Johnny.
Oh yeah, those
Uh-huh.
two guys are like.
I think they're
I mean,
fun,
they're
right?
fun, but it's like
I'm unclear if they're supposed to be main characters or not.
One piece at a time.
oh,
That's what we're saying instead of keep reading.
No,
right?
it just
Mhm.
hit me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about like villain characters? Also, real quick too, I just want to say, I want to know who your favorite villain characters are or standouts so far are. But I also just I think another point that I wanted to make about characters falling into the background or not feeling like they're getting a lot of attention. I think I ultimately like this about how the first couple volumes work, but you know how typically there will be stories where a lot is happening at the same time. 3 people will be fighting and we're cutting between each fight.
Mhm.
How I feel like this, at least currently, the way we're reading it right now is happening, is things are happening. One thing will happen, it will be resolved. And then another thing will happen and that'll be resolved. And so if a character's not directly involved in that conflict, then they are going to be absent for a while. As a pacing device or from a reading standpoint, I kind of enjoy that here.
It makes it's just I like in team stories where each character has their clear role that they they do it, and I don't like if Zoro got knocked out and now it's this character's time to I like team stories with and this character will do this character will do this, and these are the roles that they play.
I really firmly believe, and I've only read up to a certain point, but I really firmly believe that this is all happening so that when they do finally establish their team dynamic, we'll be more invested in all of them because we've had all of this, and they will all have their role, and they will be a fully fleshed out team, and they will be in more fights together. But
like a crew.
like a crew.
What?
Any standout villains that you guys really liked?
I
guess
mean, Arlong is
yeah.
the nastiest of all of
He
them
seems like
right
the
now.
worst villain. Well, except for the guys who killed hundreds of people. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sanji had to feed because
Okay, Cody.
Oh, and also, what's his name? Mustache Man.
I
I think he's my favorite.
the mustache man.
The pirate.
the one who fought Zoro.
Yeah.
Oh, Mihawk.
Mihawk, yeah.
Mihawk.
Oh,
Mihawk.
Jack.
Jack Mihawk. I love it.
I
man.
love it, dude. You brought it
gets
back.
better.
I thought it wasn't gonna get me again.
I don't know.
Oh, and I like Momo.
The sea
cow.
cow.
Another you just sinking that one.
I like Momo.
The only other things that I really had to say, I mean, I wanted to include some of my favorite question corners. We're running a little close or a little tight on time, close to the end. But some really, and we mentioned a lot of them too throughout the episode.
Yeah, there's one where he like throws in the characters talking to each other, and that was really cute.
But the ones that I think are important little Easter eggs are that, so apparently Captain Morgan, right, from like the very, very first chapter with Kobe and when Zoro was tied up, that villain, apparently he was the sailor that Django hypnotized to think that he caught Kuro. And so when he went back and reported that, he rose through the ranks for capturing such a powerful pirate with such a powerful big bounty. He got promoted for that and got into a high position of power. So that guy was Captain Morgan. So I just thought that was interesting.
That's cool.
Oda, Fist of the North Star, we already said that. Some of these are so interesting. If you read the manga, I mean, you definitely don't want to miss these at all.
Do they like include these in the anime? No, they didn't.
I don't think they do.
I watched one episode. But
I don't think they do, but that's a shame. Like, there's little fun things like, Django's beard is a mushroom.
It is, it's a part of reading One Piece is those at the end of the thing. So
totally. And the cover pages too.
It helps set the tone.
yeah, like it adds to the tone more than some of the jokes does for me.
Oh, really?
'Cause I find that though, like the end of the chapter bits are way funnier than like when it, Usopp tells a story about poop. I'm like, I don't find that funny at all.
Okay.
The thing is, I don't find that funny at all. But when I hear like the jokes that he makes in those are like way funnier. I'm like, all right, like that sets a fun tone for me more.
Yeah, and just him, just being himself, and then like people ask him about like pirate memorabilia, and he's able to answer, which is really cool. Like just I am obsessed. I can't stop reading them.
The only other ones I have written down, and then we'll wrap it up, is that like he also mentions he was an assistant on Rurouni Kenshin, which is a super popular manga. Alvida was named after an actual Viking queen, and the chili fruit. He mentions that, and I just wanted to say that, Cody, I didn't know that you wrote in to Oda Sensei.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of another joke to make. What did you just say?
I didn't know that you wrote in to Oda, because in the question corner, there's a person who wrote in. I think they're anonymous, but now I know it's you. They said that they ate a devil fruit that made them unfunny. And,
I did read that too.
Yeah, and Oda said it's the chili fruit, and it's because like everything that comes out of your mouth is just like ice cold, it's flat, it doesn't land.
Well, it should be the dry fruit, because then you could say everything is dry. That would make sense.
No, I mean, I think this is the fruit talking right now, because what you're saying is
no, they said it was not. They said it wasn't the true.
You're too late.
You need to eat the true fruit.
I was thinking, if we can like edit this into the first episode of One Piece, because what they should have said when they defeated Alvida is Alvida's.
I think we did say that.
Did we say that?
Did
you say that?
I really believe I said that.
You guys are giving yourself a lot of credit.
You said that?
No.
No, I believe I said that because we were joking about something, and I said to how I do the like, classic thing to move on. I said, and I'll say Alvida Zane.
Oh, what are you?
Nothing. I'm not implying anything. It's just. I just think it's funny when we're like, do we make that joke? And we're like, oh yeah, we definitely
No,
made
I'm pretty sure I did.
I think you did. I'm.
You guys let us know in the comments if Josh.
Who were you going to call
the
me?
Josh douche.
The Josh douche.
The douche fruit, and that's what you ate.
Oh, the douche fruit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Well, you need the chest fruit.
Okay, you're not going to bring that back again.
If I ate the douche fruit, then you need the chest fruit. And you ate the bitch fruit.
What the heck?
Yeah. We already established that you ate the chili fruit. You're making it not canon anymore.
It's canon.
I'm gonna throw a fucking
I
cannon at you.
ate the bitch fruit and I started acting like Josh, and that's my power.
Oh, that's really funny. Maybe you didn't eat the chili fruit or whatever the fuck it's called. That's it. Thank you. It's been a long episode. But we're making our way through it. We've actually accomplished quite a bit. Now, this is part 2, and we've gotten through 81 chapters. I think we'll be close to 100 by the end of this. We have our part 3. We're covering the last 3 volumes of the East Blue Arc. Then we're leaving a little bit of time left to answer your comments, your questions, your corrections.
We'll address them all at the end. We're saving time specifically to do it.
So leave them. On our part 1, part 2. We're going to be collecting them from those 2 videos. So leave them there. Leave them there so that we can kind of accrue them all, kind of collect them all, and have a little portion at the end of that for those. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We have to shout out, of course, our beautiful, wonderful, amazing, and some of our new Patreon members.
What?
You guys
people
are the
joining the family.
and you guys
Joining
are
the
absolute
crew.
best. Joining the crew. You ate the cute fruit because you guys are cute. And I really am. I really appreciate, and I'm a little bit attracted to you guys. And I think that
we could always we need to collect 1 million berries.
That's our goal, and you guys are getting us.
Our humble goal is just to get $1 million a month on Patreon.
And these wonderful, beautiful people, these amazing
the
people,
journey of 1,000 miles.
they
Look
are
at them go.
one berry at a
Whoa,
time.
look at that one.
Oh, look at this one right here.
Oh,
One
love
berry
you.
at a
I
time.
like-
You guys are helping us get there. And thank you to everybody who shows their support, no matter how you do, whether it's just by liking, commenting, subscribing, thumbs up.
Joining the algorithm gang. It's a free way to support us. Comment nothing. Comment gibberish. It helps the algorithm. And that's the code. That's the algorithm's code.
Yes, keep going, dude.
I'm out.
All right,
Captain
and we're out.
Algorithm.
Captain Algorithm.
That's a good name.
And speaking of out, we're out. Thank you for
Thank you, Megan, for that.
Thank you for that out. I'm so excited to finish this arc and finish talking about it with you guys, and to see where it goes from here and where it goes arcs after this. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro. That's always the freaking same and never changes. Megan's got one.
One piece at a time.
There we go.
We got it. We freaking got it, dude. Because
Until next time. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That might actually be
The
outro we've always had.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
It is.
I think it really is. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time,
One piece at a time.
We're singing.
I was singing the One Piece theme song.
You think I was confessing my love to you? Get off your.
No, I was joking with you.
You're a good joke. Keep going. What are you singing?
I'm singing the One Piece theme song.